Ugh.
It wouldn't be an episode of the Level With Me podcast without some sort of technical difficulties, right?
Oh, I know. I'm just waiting for a bolt of lightning to come and strike my computer at this point.
My router to just blow up. Why is there all this pudding in my PC? I don't even own pudding.
I get the Xbox Red Ring of Death. How? It's not an Xbox.
So, right off the cuff, I got an article here, and we have to talk about it, Amik. It's not even really an article. It's just something that was trending.
Oh boy,
this,
Joe Rogan,
this
everyone's
weekend.
favorite.
Yes, Mr. Joe Rogan himself, podcast entrepreneur. I mean, he wants to be as big as Level With Me podcast. He's got his own compound. He's doing pretty all right for himself, you know.
I think he's just trying to overcompensate because he has no hair. That's all it's about.
He's got a little bit under his nose.
Well, I'm sure he does, and probably someone in his back too. But.
Anywho, Joe Rogan talked about video games on his podcast, as he does. Talks about all sorts of things, DMT, you know. And this is his quote right here. He said, "Video games are a real problem. You know why? Because they're fucking fun. You do them, and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere." And there is a longer article here where I guess in one of the recent podcasts he did, he goes on to, you know, just kind of like discuss this thing. So I'm going to say this first of all. I actually like Joe Rogan. I've listened to his podcast for years now. I think his comedy it's pretty good. He's not my favorite comedian, but I enjoy his work. And I can definitely see where Joe is coming from. But I will also say, you're wrong, Joe. They're not a problem. Video games are an amazing piece of media. They're a piece of art. To quote my own tweet, they build communities. They build bonds. Fuck you, Joe Rogan. You're wrong. Mic drop. But the podcast is over. We just wrap it up. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think that sums it bad up.
Yeah. I'll just go back to my new not problem of playing lots and lots of Legends of Runeterra. Oh my goodness. We'll get onto that later. Do you have any comments to make about this? Do you care at all? I mean, to each his own, of course, you know.
Yeah. I'd say this is, I think, just Joe Rogan doing this for the sake of publicity. Because it's perfectly okay, in my opinion, to not like video games or to think that they're stupid. That's, like, again, as you said, to each their own. You can have your own opinion about these kind of things. But I think if you're really going to... I think the point of this is that he tries to do this to target gamers. And I think he's maybe collecting everyone as a gamer into, like, a bit of a bad category, trying to act like, oh, you're wasting your time doing this. Because you're right, obviously, like, if you want to put it to the sake of, like, accomplishing something, yes. Defeating The Legend of Zelda, for example, is nothing compared to getting a promotion. Like, it's not like it's really going to get you far in life. I think that's probably, like, the best way you can try to describe it. But I think his podcast went above this quote, and I'm sure his podcast goes above and beyond to act like as if you're, like, I think as he's picturing the stereotypical gamer, but the ones that you know, I don't want to get people upset, and I don't want to seem like I'm targeting anybody, but I think he specifically is kind of like collecting everyone who's a gamer into the whole stereotype that we all can picture in our heads, you know, like the guy from South Park during the Warcraft episode. That's kind of what I think he thinks all gamers are like, or maybe that's what the point he's trying to get across, and that's just not true. And the best word I can say is he's just ignorant. That's all it is. Because I agree with what you're saying, Corey, that games are an amazing form of media, and they are even the oldest games from the 80s and 70s. It was computer science. You know, it was technology evolving. I think they're all great feats, even to this day. Like, I mean, like, look at games nowadays. You know, with the photorealistic graphics and the amazing art styles, the stories.
Absolutely.
It's basically like writing that's like saying, I've read a book. Oh, well, then you just wasted all your time. You know? Like, where did that book, like, reading that book, reading Harry Potter, for example.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yep, exactly. I'm glad you're on the same page as me, Corey. It's like, imagine someone saying to Joe Rogan, yeah, I agree. It's like reading books. Like, the one kid read Harry Potter, I said, yeah, that book's really fucking fun, but you know what? It's exciting, but you didn't get anywhere. Like, imagine him saying that.
I honestly don't even know what that means. Like, what does he mean? Like, about just your career? Because there are multiple people who played video games and made it a career.
Oh yeah, I think again.
Look at Ninja.
Yeah, like I think what he's saying is like kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like I think he's comparing. Oh, you spent 40 hours of your life playing a game, like especially to modern games. You played 40 hours of this game. But, like, what did that do in life? It's not like you worked 40 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's talking to the casual crowd, again,
right.
The stereotypical game. You know, he's thinking, like, well, you spent 40 hours playing a game when you could have been doing those 40 hours to get somewhere in life, and you didn't do that. That's, I think, what he's trying to jab at our sides with a fork, saying, you guys are bad for doing games like that.
Now, I will say this, and I'm going to enlighten... this might even enlighten you, because I think you're painting Joe a little bit wrong here. Joe Rogan has actually gone on many times to talk about how much he loves games like Quake and Doom. And back in the day, like in the early 2000s, Joe Rogan even really was like kind of addicted to those games, so much so that he spent thousands of dollars on like really good internet speeds, like when that wasn't even a thing. So he has like a VR rig in his like cool podcast compound where he has like, you know, like a big fake werewolf, but he knows about video games and even modern games, and I'm sure like people have shown him like Red Dead Redemption 2 and like all that kind of stuff. So I don't necessarily think he's like, you know, kind of thinking people are like that. I think he's just kind of saying, oh, it's just kind of a waste of time. But again, my point was also, well, isn't everything just a waste of time? Like if you read a book, if you watch The Walking Dead or whatever, you know.
Even if you go, even like anything leisurely, like if someone goes to play golf, oh, that was just a waste of time. What did you accomplish? You know, like anything like that. Going bowling must be a waste of time. Like I'm just
it's also, you know, it's an article to create controversy, like this whole thing. Like at the end of the day, like I'm not mad at Rogan at all. Like my just little remark is just being snarky and funny. Like I don't, you know, it's just his opinion. Who cares? Like this whole, I think it's a lot of people who just don't know like his background, because I also was going to point out he had John Carmack on his podcast before, which was really cool. For those of you who don't know who that is, that's the co-founder of id. He made like Doom and Quake, and he worked on like one of the I think it's Oculus, one of the VR headsets or Vibe. Like he's working on that now. So, you know, I just wanted to point that out because I know this was the thing that was trending. It happened like a few days ago, and we're a video game podcast. I feel like we had to address this, or at least, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just my final thought is, and kind of to piggyback off what you said, it also is very possible he's just saying this for the sake of starting the pot and getting people all riled up to follow him and retweet the pot. You know, I'm sure that's another big part of it.
Yeah.
Anywho,
so I almost had a panic attack this past week.
Oh.
And believe it or not, all it was is from some goddamn flies.
That's right. I got your text.
So yes. I believe this was Thursday, maybe Friday. I just come home. I'm doing my, typical things like after work. I was just literally just cooking dinner. And I think I was also like trying to do dishes. Like I was trying to multitask and make the most of my time. And as I'm doing that, I start to hear like, the buzzing. I'm like, oh, there's a fly. And this is very common where I live. I live near farms in the country. So we usually get like 1-2 flies in our apartment daily. So it's like, oh, no big deal. I just like to deal with them right away whenever there's a fly in my apartment, because the way I look at a fly, it's like a little tiny nuclear or like biochemical weapon. Like it could potentially contaminate a bunch of different surfaces, or like food, or it could. I have pets, like I have a cat and we have guinea pigs, and it could potentially eat some of their food or lay eggs in their food. So whenever there's a fly, it just has to go. That's like what I need to do. So I need to stop everything and like kill it or get rid of it. So I'm washing the dishes and cooking, and I had gloves on doing the dishes. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I got to take the gloves off. I don't want to get poison or fly guts on them. I don't want to cross-contaminate anything.
Poison.
So I do that. Well, we like the spray, like Raid, like fly poison. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I take care of the two. There were like 2 flies. I take care of them. Go back to doing my thing, cooking or whatever. And then I hear the buzz like a few minutes later. I'm like, really? Son of a gun. Another couple flies. All right. Guess it's an active day today. So I de-gown essentially. I'm also wearing an apron. I always wear an apron when I cook. Judge me if you will. It's just my thing. And then, I have to de-gown.
I'm curious what the apron says. I'm sure it doesn't say kiss the cook. It must say something else.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I need a better apron. I don't have a funny one. I usually just we have like a plaid, like black and white and red one or something, and that's just what I use. My girlfriend got like a kind of nice one on Etsy or something, and I broke it. I guess I'm stronger than, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't made that well. Who knows? But I told her, like, you could just give me a new apron, like, for a gift at some point. Anyways, this is an apron talk right now. This is about the flies and my panic attack. Well, almost panic attack. So, yeah, this cycle just kept continuing for the good majority of maybe, like, 30 minutes. So I'd keep, like, killing 2 or 3 flies, put on my gear again, try to get back to being productive, and then more would keep coming. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is not normal. What's going on? And I had no idea what was causing them to come in. I don't know if it was just a hot day. I don't know if there were just a lot outside for some reason. I don't know if it was what I was cooking had anything to do with it. I don't know, like, the scent of a fly or what attracts them. I don't know. But it was just driving me insane. And I was getting freaked out. Because I was also cooking dinner, and like I said, I didn't want any of them to touch the food because I just feel like I would have wasted all that time. I mean, granted, all I had to do was like take a little bit of the food away that the fly touched, not like throw away the whole thing. But yeah, it just made me like lose my mind. And literally, we were going to record some videos for the YouTube, but I had to cancel because I was just like so overwhelmed. My girlfriend luckily came home right at the same time as this was all happening, and I just had to like sit down and relax and breathe. And I did relax eventually, but oh my God, it annoyed me so much. And I really hate like pest bugs. So I was actually like quite mad.
Okay, well, let me start by saying I honestly thought you were exaggerating when you said the panic attack. Apparently, you really did have a panic attack.
I don't think I had a panic attack. Like, I didn't like,
yeah.
But I had to like calm down.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. The fact that you had to like actually calm down, it was like you were too stressed from that to play games. Like, man, I think that is probably the definition of a small panic attack.
Yeah,
like you were just that. As you said, you said it. You're just that overwhelmed. Like, I just can't do anything but sit down right now. Man, I know I feel bad because I'm not saying I was going to mock you, but like I kind of didn't take it as seriously as you were telling me.
No, it's okay.
I thought it was more just like one of those like cartoons I see, like when in Beavis and Butthead when they had a fly in the house and they like destroyed the house trying to kill a fly. That's kind of what I was picturing.
I mean, in my head. I'm not going to say that didn't happen. Oh man, I wish I was joking. All right,
you should FaceTime me and show me your apartment, see how many holes are on the walls, and
look, I just want to put this out there too. It's not like my apartment smells like shit. It's not dirty. It's very clean, so it's like I don't even know what's going on. We do have animals, but I don't know. It's behind me. It's behind me.
It must be all the delicious food you're eating. Think of it this way.
That could be it.
Think of it this way. Lice don't... Usually if you have really dirty hair, that's not what attracts the lice. The lice, they like clean hair. So technically, think of it the same way as flies. I mean, yeah, I can obviously picture a house if the house was smelly and full of crap, yeah, sure, flies. But at the same time, flies do like things that smell good. They do like good smelling food.
I mean, I don't use a toilet. I just poop directly onto my kitchen floor. So, I mean, that could...
Oh, you're all natural. Yeah. We're trying to save water. Come on.
It's better for the environment. Then we grow our... I digress. That's a joke, by the way.
It's good for the garden.
You know what? Perfect segue. So, Mike, I was just thinking about this today when I went to the store right before I came back to my apartment today. Could you, and this is like, I'm not throwing this challenge out now, but I'm saying maybe this could be a fun little challenge you and me could do some point in the future.
Interesting.
Could you do, this isn't related to video games either. Could you do like maybe a week or a month just vegetarian?
Man, I honestly don't think I could.
You don't think you could?
No. I really don't think I could. It's tough enough doing the keto diet, you know. But then, well, you know what? So here's the funny thing. Technically, it would be doing like one. I'm sure there is a very keto friendly way of being vegetarian, and I'm sure I would kill myself trying to do so. But like technically, if I were to not do keto but just do vegetarian, technically I can eat all the pizza I want.
True.
Pepperoni, but I can have all of the pizza I want, have all the French fries I want, have all the potato chips and bread I want, pasta. So technically, like, there are some foods that I love to eat. Believe me, I would, especially with just all like the Italian foods. You know, like I can have all the shells and pastas I want. I can have cereal. I can have. Technically, here's a question:
Yeah.
How strict are we talking about?
You're making it pretty broad, so now I feel like we almost have to go even further than that. Like
I was gonna say,
maybe
like,
vegan.
I was gonna say, like, so technically, are we talking about like no eggs either, like no fish? Like
I was gonna say no fish. I was gonna allow eggs, and I was maybe thinking of a number. I don't know if that's like too ridiculous. Like, oh, you can have like 4 eggs a day or something.
You can have 11 eggs, and that's it.
I don't know, but I was just thinking about it because
I can't have meatball pizza. I can't do this.
You're gonna have to get tofu pizza.
No.
Just ball pizza.
Just ball pizza.
Oh man.
Oh, boy, marshmallow pizza.
But yeah, I was just thinking about that because like what I went to the store for was my girlfriend has like guinea pigs and they always need like fresh like romaine and carrots like that. And I was just like, honestly, it doesn't cost that much to get that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I wonder if I could actually do it because it's always something that's floated my boat. I love to eat everything though. I'm not like guilty of eating meat or anything like that. But yeah, I was just like thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder if I could pull this off. And then I was like, oh, it could be like a fun little challenge, you know, like we could both go vegetarian for a month and talk about how it's awful. But then, yeah, we probably need a little more restrictions because you're right. Like, yeah, you can technically have pasta. You can have pizza and, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of like as if there's ways to, not cheat, but like, you know, you can really make it easy to be a vegetarian if you're going to eat like those kinds of foods, you know? Like, but then again, I really think that's a lot. Again, just from my eating habits, that's a lot of carbs, man. I have a feeling if I would do that for a month, I would gain so much weight probably. I mean, granted, I could always just eat less, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Good point.
That's just me. Everybody's different, but I know with my my body type and my eating habits, if I were to eat a lot of that, like, I think I would gain a lot of weight.
Interesting. Okay. That was just a hypothetical, by the way. We're not actually doing that. Last but not least, these are just like our intro topics. I'm kind of out of them. I was just going to say this weekend I actually went to the farmer's market. Well, there's a couple of them in Pennsylvania, but me and my girlfriend went to a local one. And I was sad because there were 2 establishments in there that closed. I don't know if that was because of the whole pandemic, but yeah, it was like a authentic like Japanese. Like they had some ramen, they had like poke bowls and like sushi. And it wasn't the best ramen I ever had, but it was all right for like, you know, traditional ramen. That's not just the kind you get out of your, you know, your cabinet with the little bag and, you know.
It's real ramen.
Yeah, there's bamboo in there and, you know, there's the Naruto, everything like that. But yeah, it was sad to see that go.
It's always sad seeing any kind of establishment close down.
Yeah, and then there was also a tea place that my girlfriend really loved. Okay, funny enough, we were going to go somewhere else originally, but I'm like, that's a little farther away and it might cost more money. Let's save a little bit money and go here. And she's like, okay, we haven't been there in a while. And like she loves these two places that I'm sad about, so I took her there, and this was my suggestion. And I'm like, God, now I feel so bad because we haven't been there in months, so we didn't know these places were closed. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I'm like, I just made this way worse. Although we did get some really good donuts and Vietnamese food. If any of y'all check my Instagram, I posted very delicious noodles I got there. They were marinated beef with stir-fried veggies and like garlic noodles. Oh, so fucking good. You do anything exciting this week? Not related to video games or shows or movies, whatever we talk about? Media?
Besides doing more work around the house, I do have something really, really exciting. I guess it's pretty pertaining to this week. Just today, I was so I guess I'll say I was anticipating this all week. My PSA cards that got graded just came in today. I have them right here.
Oh.
And I am itching to open these up. So that's basically what I was just constant. I mean, I spent a significant amount of time checking my phone and checking the tracking information, looking for when it was going to be delivered. So that's where I spent a good amount of my time doing last week. But now they're here, and I'll make a video with all the. I might make 2 videos because it's like 15 Yu-Gi-Oh, 15 Pokemon cards. So I might make 2 videos revealing the PSA returns and the grades.
Nice,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
Can you give us a little tease? Like, did they turn out how you wanted to? Were some of the cards?
I didn't open up yet.
Oh, cool.
No, cool. Yeah. PSA will send you an email saying, "Oh, your cards are ready, and they're gonna be shipped." Blah, blah, all that information, and they'll say the grades are available for you to look at. You can go on their website and like check your account on their website, and you can look at the grades there. But they even recommend, it's more fun to open up in person, and I totally agree. It's way
like
more
opening
fun.
A pack of cards.
It's like your birthday or Christmas, or it's like opening up a pack of cards. Yep. Except you kind of know what you're getting, but it's just that grade number, man, can just really be thrilling. Just to guess what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I want to do for the videos. I want to give like my guesses on what the grades are because I kind of have like an idea for a lot of them, and then see if I'm right or not.
Neat.
Yeah, so that's basically been my week. Besides working and working on the house.
The huge. Yep.
The huge. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks.
Yeah, no problem. Well, without further ado, that was a drum roll. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Level With Me podcast, episode 59. We're getting up there. I am one of your hosts, Game Bro Corey. Hi, and joining me is my co-host, Mike, aka the Collector's Vault. What up, Mike?
What's up, Corey? And hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level With Me. It is a good day in the neighborhood. It is sunny. It is warm.
It's very warm.
Actually,
hot,
I think it was
some would say.
Yeah. There are some people who are like, man, this is the hottest day of the year. This is the hottest day it's ever been in like 10 years. And I want to say, well, that's a load of bull. I'm pretty sure it's been much hotter than this, but I will admit it was definitely pretty warm.
I'm not going to lie. Oh, go on.
No, I was going to say kind of like what I was talking about, like doing like the housework that I did last week and this weekend. I did some of it outside, and man, I was drenched in sweat. So
I'm not gonna lie. I do kind of love how hot it is, though. I kind of enjoy walking outside.
Yeah,
getting them vitamin D.
Oh yeah, let me let it be known that Mike from the Collector's Vault loves the warmth, loves the heat. I hate the cold, personally.
Okay.
I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, what's like your scale? Like, is an ideal day like 85 and above, or like, are we talking like 80? Exactly.
Like, I would say 75 degrees to 80 degrees is my. No, I don't like walking outside and like, oh yes, now I gotta go change my shirt because I'm already sweating. It's like, no, it's more like I would like I like 75 to 80 degrees is like my perfect ideal weather, and with like a nice little cool breeze. So that way I'm nice and warm. I love it when the sun warms you up. Like you actually feel the sun's heat when you walk outside.
Yeah, me too.
And then a nice little breeze cools you off. So I can wear my shorts, I can wear like my t-shirts, and I can wear like my sunglasses. But I hate the cold. I hate it when it gets to be like I hate wintertime. Like I was grateful that this past winter was very warm. So
Yeah,
I
like
was
barely snowed too.
Oh my gosh, it barely went below 40 degrees. But like basically, I hate the cold. I think I'm super uncomfortable when I'm cold. But I would take being hot any day of being cold. Because even though like I don't think I enjoy being drenched in sweat, but I do think it is still kind of like invigorating being out in the heat. Even if it's like a hot 90-degree day, I don't know. I just like being warm, you know. And more so, I like being warm and then cooling myself off with like a nice, refreshing beer or a drink or something like that, or ice cream. I don't know.
I'll have my statement ready about what I prefer the temperature outside. I will make this one point. I will say I do like during the cold when you come inside and you can like just bundle up with like a nice blanket, maybe like a hot cocoa or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that getting warm from the cold is nice, but I don't like going outside when you have to like put on all the layers. That sucks.
Yeah, that's what I hate too. I hate having to put on layers.
And especially like in the morning or the nights when the wind is just so cold and it like is hurting your skin, like the wind is dealing you damage.
Oh my god! See, this is because you live in the mountainous areas, Corey. Like, because obviously, like when I met you, when I was living up in the Reading area, that was easily the coldest winters of my entire life.
Oh yeah,
I remember. I think it was like 20. What year was it? Maybe 2014 or something like that. Like, I remember like that one winter. Like, it was so cold. There was like there were two separate 2-week periods in the wintertime where like the temperatures were like -10 to 0.
yes.
And I remember like every morning because I had to get up at like 4:30 to go to work. And of course, like it's freezing outside. And I remember like my skin just hurt being out, and I was bundled up. I was all bundled up.
Especially like your fingers. You need gloves. Period.
Yeah, it was terrible. Even just to walk. Like, I would warm my car up, go back inside, then go, to my car and drive to work. And, it was a 5-minute commute. And I didn't have to drive very far. But, like, man, then even just getting out of my car, then going to the building was, like, torture. I hated that winter. And that was only when I was living up in Reading. I mean, I've had cold winters down here in the Philadelphia area as well. But, man, nothing like that. But I digress.
Well, don't worry, Mike. Luckily, humans have invented this wonderful thing called global warming, and it seems to be working. It seems to be getting hotter outside,
Oh, yeah.
Who cares if we're melting some polar ice caps? The polar bears can swim. They're all right. Penguins, they can swim too. It's all good, guys.
I have my own theories about that, but I'll stay there for another podcast episode.
So, back to my statement. I'll tell you what Game Bro Corey likes it outside. I like it hot too. Don't get me wrong. But you know what I love? I love a good fall day. I like it being a nice, like, 60 to 65. I like a good hoodie and shorts weather. That's ideal for me.
You know what, Corey? Very good point. That's, like, another good middle ground that I love.
60
to 65.
70 is, like, pretty perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
I agree.
You want a temperature where you don't need to, like, you're like, oh, I need to either get out of this. Or basically, yeah, just get out of your environment. Like, it's too hot, you're like, oh, I need to get in the shade. Or, oh, it's too cold, I need to go inside. And, you never want that. That's the worst.
Yeah. I mean, I guess everybody can agree that just being temperate is, like, perfect. Just like you said, is it like 65, 70 degrees? Everyone wishes it could always be like that. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in.
I don't know if you ever traveled to, like, Las Vegas or like any of the western, or I guess it would just be like in the middle of the United States, but like that heat is just completely different than like the humid heat. Like the dry heat is also really bad. Literally, when I went to Las Vegas with my friends once, me and my friends stepped outside, and because it was just so dry and hot, like we just were tearing up. Like we couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I've been out west twice. Once was when I went to visit my grandfather in Arizona, and that's like the arid desert heat. And like you said, like it is different. It's funny because people hear about that. Oh, it's a different kind of heat because it's not humid; it's dry heat. And you're right. When you go out there and you experience it, it really is different. Because I remember, again, I love that kind of weather personally, because it was like 100. We were out there during a heat wave, so it's already hot out there in Arizona, but we were there during one of their own heat waves. I think it was like 114 the one day, and but believe me, it was hot. Like, I walked outside, and I'm like, yeah, this is hot, but it was different because it was just like it was like invigorating. Now I wouldn't lay out in the middle of the road and just it's like, oh, this is great. I would cook myself. I mean, I just didn't mind being out there, and you didn't sweat because it was that dry heat. So as long as you had like a bottle of water with you at all times, and I think that they out there they recommend if you're outside, drink like a quart of water every hour or something like that. So this message of health and safety is brought to you by the Level With Me podcast. Make sure you drink plenty of water out in the desert area. And the other time was when I was out in Colorado, and there's the mountainous area of Colorado, and then there's the plains, and the plains are the same thing. Where like during the day you get like this like crazy dry heat, and then at nighttime you get like the cooler desert-like weather. So that was kind of interesting.
Join us next week where we will talk about wildfire safety.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Our special guest, Smokey the Bear. That's all he says.
You just brought up a really good little side note or a tangent for me. Did you know his name is not Smokey the Bear?
I think I've heard that before, but I couldn't tell you his real name.
It's Smokey Bear. Not Smokey the Bear. It's Smokey Bear.
Gotcha.
So when you say the, you're wrong.
What you Smokey Bear? That doesn't work. Let's scrap that. Hey, here with the Level With Me podcast. We video game number 1, us, words, sentences. I can't do them today. Hey, G4, it got teased. So this weekend there was Comic-Con at home. I didn't even know that was happening. I can't tell you a damn thing that got announced there that was of relevance. Sorry, nerds. But I saw this on Twitter. G4 is making some sort of return in 2021. Mike, have you ever watched any of G4 or familiar with it?
Oh, yeah, years ago. I would watch G4 a lot.
I'm curious. So I also used to watch G4 a lot. I want to say, like, kind of in my teenage years, like, probably also around the same time I started, like, really getting into video games. So, like, the late 2000s, like 2008. I think it was 2016. I think the article says is when G4 actually shut down. It might have been It was 2014. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And I kind of found other things that I was interested in, but I always loved to watch X Play and Attack of the Show. Those were always great fun, and all those like personalities, Kevin Pereira and Adam Sessler. So I'm very curious to see whatever this is. I also love the Code Monkeys. I don't know if you remember that. It was like a little 8-bit like animated show. It's like all set inside like a video game. It was interesting. But yeah, I got my eye on this. I'm optimistic about what this could be. A lot of people recognize G4, and I think that'll be pretty neat. Whatever it is. Gamers.
Did you see the... I'm sorry. I was going to say, did you see how they teased how it was coming back?
I don't remember, but yeah, I did.
It was the ping pong, or the Pong, the old Atari game Pong. Basically, that's how the show ended. The very last episode of like.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was cool because then basically like they were playing Pong and then they like faded away, and now I was like, oh, it's all over, guys. And then I think they teased it by showing that like slowly Pong started coming back in this like image, and then the score was like 9 million or something like that. So they never stopped playing Pong since 2014.
It is a shame that this is coming back, but who the hell has cable? I'll be here.
Sadly,
I'll be here all week. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I'll come over to your house to watch G4.
Yeah, we have cable, and the cool thing is we're trying to. It's cool because this is my first side note. This is my first time with Verizon Fios, and you can actually choose the channels that you want. So like we don't have all these like crazy channels that like I just don't watch. We only have the channels that Amanda and I want to watch. So
the adult network channels.
You're disgusting.
And of course Nickelodeon.
Yeah, and Cartoon Network if that's even on TV anymore. I gotta get my Ed, Edd n Eddy fix. I mean, come on.
I wish I could whistle. I'd do some of the. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone loves cartoons, and yeah, speaking of cartoons, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie, gets a release date. You can plan on watching in a theater. Well, maybe. Will we have theaters in April 8th, 2022? Excuse me.
AMC supposedly did not go out of business, so that's a blessing, you know.
Yeah, they were trying to let people go now though, and be like, you can watch a movie. It's all right.
At this
Those
point,
silly
I think
goons.
I don't know. At this point, I'm just like, whatever. If I get COVID, it was meant to be.
Just wear one of those like Breaking Bad, hazmat suits.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's called adapting.
I'm seeing a visual like you and your fiance like watching something, and like you're trying to eat the popcorn, but it's just like going on your face and like falling down.
Yeah.
She like tries to drink like a soda, and she's like, can't. Yeah.
And we're just and as we continue to just stare at the TV screen, like the big movie screen, we don't even care that we're just making a mess.
Yeah, you don't have to clean it up.
Yeah, it's not my job.
That's the whole thrill of going to a theater, right? You could just throw the popcorn all on the ground.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I go to. Oh, you think I go for the movie and for the food? No, I go there because I can legally trash the place.
Why do you think I buy the nacho tray? I don't want that disgusting yellow glop they call cheese. I just throw that all over the ground.
Yeah. Sir, do you want some popcorn? No, just give me the bag. Why? And
just give me a 16-ounce cup of the butter.
Yeah, and then when I get to the theater, I just go
in quotes
pour
butter
it everywhere. I just pour it everywhere.
Disclaimer: the Level With Me podcast does not endorse any trashing of public theaters when they open up.
Yes, we are not responsible for any damage that will go to the AMC theaters. Anyway, back to the
video games. #1 video game podcast on online. Period.
Yep. No matter what Joe Rogan says about us.
Yeah. Xbox. Hear about this little thing Microsoft's working on? Well, they had this basically their E3 type announcement press conference thing. It was called the Xbox Series X Games Showcase, and we're going to talk about everything they announced at that event.
Oh boy, I've heard. I didn't watch it, but I heard some bad things. So Corey, I'll let you take it away.
Oh wow, I'm actually curious. Okay, so I'm just gonna say I didn't watch this live because it happened like in the middle of the day. I think it was at like noon or 12:30 or something like that. So I kind of just caught the tail end of it when I was on my lunch break, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't hear, honestly, I didn't look up the reaction at all, so I'm curious to know what you're going to say. I thought what they brought was good. I would say, call it biased, but it was one step under what Sony's was, you know what I mean? I don't think they showed off a lot of different games, and what they showed off I don't think was that impressive. Like, it was kind of like, yeah, this is a Microsoft thing. Like, the stuff looks good, but it doesn't look that great. But, again, maybe that's just because I have a bias. I don't know. I don't hate what Microsoft's doing or think any of the products are bad, but I was just like, yeah, it's fine. Anywho, big green boy, Halo Master Chief, Halo Infinite gameplay was revealed. I believe they led the show with this. So there was like a little opening cinematic, and then there was a 9-minute gameplay sequence. All I'm really going to say about this is I was a little let down, but I don't really know what I expected, because at the end of the day, this just looks like an open world Halo game, and that's kind of it. It's very pretty. It looks like a lot of the systems that are going on in there are cool. Master Chief has a grappling hook now. That's fun.
Oh yeah, he acquired the grappling beam.
You're right.
That was one of the Metroid beams I saw, and I was actually cracking up laughing. I'm like,
that's pretty good.
Son of a gun.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
And there were a plethora of like new enemies and new weapons. Not really much on like gameplay. It's just like that Halo like arcadey first person shooter. I didn't really see anything there. It didn't really like blow my mind. Just like watching this plane. Like again, it just looked like a new Halo game. Something personally that I did like is it looks like they had a lot of new weapons, which I think is refreshing. I don't know if they're just getting rid of like the battle rifle and things like that are staples and replacing them. I hope they do, because I think that's really cool and a bold move. But Yeah. Overall, I was just like, this looks good, but it just looks like a Halo game. Like, to me, it didn't really blow my mind. Like, I feel like I kind of wanted a little bit more out of it, personally. But I don't know. I don't hate it. Do you have any thoughts on Halo Infinite, Mike?
Well, like I said, I didn't watch the showcase nor the trailer. I might watch it later because I do like Halo. But
Okay.
I mean, my thing is, it's from the way you described it. It sounds like it's just more Halo. And hey, I like Halo. So even though they're not really introducing anything new and crazy, I like Halo mainly for the story. Well, the main thing I play Halo for is obviously the gameplay. That's the most important thing. But then the story is something I do like. That's why, like, when it comes to me playing Halo, I'm not all about cool. I can't wait to go play online. It's more like I just want to play the game for the gameplay, and I want to experience the story. So it sounds like from the way you described it, okay, they're adding new weapons, which I agree is the most refreshing thing about Halos in many ways. Because like, all right, cool. Like, what else can I use to defeat my enemies? You know, and pretty graphics are also very nice. Kind of what we expect from the Halo games nowadays. It's the Halo is like Halo to Microsoft is like Mario to Nintendo.
Absolutely.
These are going to be like super polished, you know, and it definitely is a good idea to make this a launch title for the system. So, but if you're saying that you really weren't blown away, and as if there wasn't anything crazy and new besides like a grappling hook for Master Chief, I think all in all, it's kind of hard to tell until you play the game for yourself. But then again, this is just me making a very, very generic statement. You know, I really don't know what to say. And ooh, did you just share with me a statue?
No, this is just one of the points I was going to bring up to you, which I like. So I just sent Mike 2 pictures on our call here. The bottom picture is Master Chief's design from Halo 5 Guardians, and the picture Master Chief above is like his design in Halo Infinite.
Oh yeah,
and
it's funny.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
I was just gonna say the Halo 5 version of Master Chief, and this is what Master Chief kind of looked like in Halo 4. I feel like they kind of really evolved his look and made him look very more like his own. Because if you guys know, since Halo 4 onward, this isn't Bungie making the Halo games. It's 343 Studios, which is kind of like they took some people from Bungie, but it's mostly a new team. So with Halo 4, excuse me, and Halo 5 Guardians, I gotta always point that out because why did they give Halo a subtitle? But anyways, they made like their own armor essentially for Master Chief. Whereas now in Halo Infinite, it's still 343 Studios making Halo Infinite, but now he looks much more like a classic Master Chief. He almost looks kind of like the Halo 3 Master Chief, if you will.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I'm glad you pointed this out because I remember, when Halo 4 came out, and I guess I didn't play Halo 5. And I
never did either.
That's also on my backlist. I do know the story, but Halo 4 onward, Master Chief's shoulders got gigantic. I didn't realize his shoulders got. It's like just the armor that he wears, you know. But it's almost like, what is that armor doing? It looks kind of just like strange. I still thought it looked cool. I'm like, oh, this is still Master Chief. Like, you know, the graphics for Halo 4 were really nice. Oh, it looks really cool. But you're right. The Master Chief that we're looking at now, like, because technically the Master Chief, Halo 1 had the one Spartan suit. And then Halo 2 onward,
it was the Mark 6.
Yep. And but yeah, you're right. This, like, granted, obviously textures are amazing for this new model. He actually looks more lime green as opposed to like the more grittier look. So he has. I thought that even when I saw the initial trailer when they revealed Xbox Series X, they showed like a little teaser with Halo Infinite, and I'm like, wow, Master Chief looks very like lime greenish. But I think it's because this is actually like a realistic texture. Again, because of the better graphics, this is a realistic texture of what the Chief would look like. And I think you're right that this probably is what. Like, this design is more original, because, again, his shoulders are smaller, the look is smaller, the suit still appears to be the same, but even the mask, like his helmet, almost resembles more of, like, what the Halo 1 suit looked like. And that's kind of what I'm getting.
I agree. And I even just sent you the box art for Halo Infinite, and I was just going to point that out, too, that
it looks like Halo 1.
They're definitely going a big nostalgia thing, which I think is a good idea, because like you even said, hey, Master Chief in Halo is like their Mario, and, you know, they need to... It's like a classic franchise for them.
Yep. it's probably their biggest one. Like, let's be honest, it probably is their biggest franchise. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I can double check.
No, you're definitely right. I would 100% agree with that. But anyways, I was also going to point out, which this is just looking at this wallpaper of the box art real quick. You can kind of see a little bit of the detail of the world, and I do love how alive the world is, because even in the demo there were like little animals like running around among the Covenant forces there. Also, they just showed the Covenant. There were no Prometheans, so we don't know if they're returning. That was an enemy type they added in Halo 4 and Halo 5. Mm-hmm. But in this art for the box art, excuse me, you can kind of see that there are like these almost look like towers with these like beams going up, and I wonder if they're going to have any significance in this open world, because they kind of didn't really show what you do. Like, I assume you go like mission to mission, like there'll be a story mission, but there'll be side missions, but I don't think they really elaborated like if you get like, if it's almost like a Metroidvania where maybe you do get power-ups, which would be pretty cool. But
that'd be a huge shift in the game. I mean, 'cause that's not what Halo is. A first-person shooter. Down to its core, it basically like was one of the big games for that generation that said yes, first-person shooters are awesome. That's kind of like what this game established. So if they were to go the Metroidvania route, hey, I love me some Metroidvania games, but it's like, man, to have your Halo game doing that, I don't know. It might be ambitious, maybe a little too ambitious. But again, I don't want to make any judgment calls until the game's out and people can actually play it.
I'm very curious to see the multiplayer for this game, which they didn't show anything off of. The story from what was there in this little segment does look good, because I did want to agree with you and say that even though it does look like more Halo, I agree. Like, I like Halo. I mean, a few weeks ago, I just bought the Master Chief Collection on Steam, and I've been enjoying replaying all those multiplayer games, and I'm sure one day I'll enjoy the single-player ones again. So, yeah. It looks like a very good, refined Halo, I guess, with a lot of new things going on. All right. Should I keep moving on? There's a couple other games we can talk about here.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I had to take a sip there. All right. State of Decay 3. I really don't know anything about this franchise. I will say this one looks the most different out of this series, I guess. It's set in a completely new environment. It's like the winter and like, this very like pine wood forest, I guess. But this looks really cool. I think there's also like infected animals. I think the trailer had like a zombie deer or something like that. Again, I don't really know much about this franchise, but it looks pretty cool. There was a new Forza. There's always a new Forza. Moving on. There was a new cinematic trailer for Everwild, which is Rare's new game that's coming out. And this looked pretty neat. I can't tell you what this game is about. It looks visually really cool. I don't know what you do in it. Maybe there's co-op. Maybe that's just your party. I don't know. Did you have any thoughts about this? Did you see this?
No, I kind of I'm kicking myself in the butt for not watching this yet. Like any of the updates.
Okay.
Again, I'm pumped for Rare stuff, so that's why I do want to eventually look more into this.
Yeah.
I mean, please enlighten me on what you know. It's not like it's really gonna spoil anything for me. Please enlighten me.
Considering I don't know a lot about it, I'm just going to read what IGN wrote here. Rare offered a quick look at the new Everwild, or how Everwild is doing. The beautiful-looking game set in a magical world where you play as an Eternal and build bonds with nature. While cryptic, the trailer showed off a world where people bring dead animals back to life. And then it's coming to, the Xbox Series X, Xbox Game Pass, Windows 10. I think it looks interesting. Just like the environments, and like they have really good, like, I feel like new designs and concepts for like the animals in there, and like it's just a very beautiful looking game.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more about it. I mean, it's funny because like whenever I think of Rare, and again, maybe because I'm the old school guy, I just think of all the platformers they used to make, and the first person shooters. That's kind of just what I grew up with Rare, and then since the Microsoft days, a few platformers here and there. No, not so much in the shooting category, the first-person shooter category. And then they definitely went off the rails with games. I mean, they have a lot of their other like crazy games, like Grab by the Ghoulies and all that good stuff. But like even then like ever since Sea of Thieves, that was like one of the big games that they spent a lot of time working on, and that was like a multi like an MMO game where like first-person shooter, like exploring game, kind of like many of the other open world games you see nowadays. And then there's this game, which again, it's definitely different. And I think different's good. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's more like it's not what I expect from Rare, but that could definitely be very like surprising in a exciting way. So I can't wait to see more from this. I do wish they would make some games with some of the older IPs that they have, like maybe again. This is just me being a '90s guy. Like bring back some like maybe make a new Conker game, make a new Banjo game. Gosh, if they were to make some of those older games like Grab by the Ghoulies, that'd be insane too.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm sorry. I'm just daydreaming about this right now, so please forgive me.
No, you're good. I feel like I'm kind of like you because I know some of the things that were announced in this Xbox games presentation or whatever it was called, but I'm kind of skimming through here. I'm like, oh my god, what's this and what's that? Like, I guess I didn't see everything announced. Anyways, though, there's a couple cool other announcements here. Tell Me Why release date. So this is Don't Nod's next, and I believe maybe console exclusive game on the Xbox Series X. It tells the story of these two siblings who grew up in this house, and like apparently something happened, and the one used to be a girl but transitioned into a man, and they also have some sort of power when they're both together and kind of like almost like do a Wonder Twins like touch or something. They can like look back in time, I think, or something like that. So it does have a little bit of Life is Strange in there, and which I thought was really cool. Also, it visually looks really well, like the graphics, of course. So I thought that looked pretty neat. I'm a big fan of Life is Strange and Don't Nod. They do good like storytelling games like that. There's some new DLC for the Outer Worlds. That's cool. This was pretty neat. Avowed announcement trailer. So Avowed is Obsidian Entertainment's next RPG, and it pretty much so the Outer Worlds, they took Fallout, made their own Fallout. Avowed, they're going to take Elder Scrolls and make their own Elder Scrolls. Did I explain it perfectly?
I think that sums it up pretty well.
It's a medieval fantasy first-person RPG, and I assume you'll be able to go in third person, but it looked great. It looked really cool. I'm excited for that. As Dusk Falls, this was one of the games that I didn't even know anything about this. I didn't watch the trailer, but I read about it, and it sounds really cool. From Interior/Night, a new studio headed by the former lead game designer at Quantic Dream, As Dusk Falls is an interactive drama spanning multiple generations. Set in the America Southwest, it focuses on how mistakes of one generation pass on to the next, and how two families trapped in a hostage situation grow over the subsequent decades. I think that sounds pretty interesting.
It kind of reminds me of those games like Heavy Rain, where it's going to be basically like you just kind of like playing through a movie almost. It's kind of how I perceive that.
Funny enough, I'm pretty sure isn't Quantic Dream the people who make Heavy Rain?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure, right? Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, well, that's funny.
There you go. I should know that. I played Heavy Rain and I watched my girlfriend play Detroit. But anyways, Stalker 2 revealed. This was a new announcement, and it's coming to the Xbox. I know nothing about the Stalker series, but I know this was a big deal. I think it used to only be on PC, so I guess now it's going to be on Xbox and PC. I think it's like a survival type game. It's giving me like a Fallout type vibe. Like maybe it's a lot of like looting and taking your time, like very realistic. I'm a little unfamiliar, but that's cool. This interests me, and I don't know how I didn't watch the trailer for this yet. Warhammer 40k Darktide. I am a sucker for Warhammer 40k. I'm a very closet Warhammer 40k fan, but I love the aesthetic of it. I even dabbled in the little models, like the tabletop 40k, and I've been tempted to go back and buy some more of those because it's fun to like put them together and paint them. I digress. I'm gonna read about this because I forgot to watch the trailer for this for some reason. Vermintide developer Fat Shark. I almost Fart Shark or Fat Shark?
Fart Shark.
Which one's better? Returns to the Warhammer universe.
Fart Shack. I think you know that.
but heads into the grim, dark future of the 41st millennium. Warhammer 40k Darktide is a 4-player co-op game set on the hive world of Tertium. Players will have to work together to survive the hordes of enemies that assault them in the darkness of the far future when it launches in 2021. The trailer features 4 Imperial Guardsmen bumping into a room packed with Poxwalkers, so it looks like it'll be Astral Militarium versus Grandfather Nurgle. I may be a closet Warhammer 40k fan. I have no idea what those words mean. Let's keep going here. Tetris Effect Connected. I believe it's just like... Hang on, is this the same game? No, it's different. Tetris Effect is coming... Oh, no, it is. It's like Tetris... So Tetris Effect came out like a year or two ago on the PS4. It's kind of like a very like stylized version of Tetris with really good music. This is like a new enhanced version. And it has co-op and multiplayer. I assume this version also come out on the PS4 or something. So that looks cool. Another game I didn't know about, but reading about it sounds pretty interesting. The Gunk. Bear with me. Steam World creators Image and Form have a new 3D action adventure, and there's not a lot of Steam-powered robots in sight. Called The Gunk, it sees you explore and solve puzzles on a forgotten planet covered in toxic sludge, using a hover-like gauntlet. The fact that the Steam World developers are making this is what pretty much sold it to me. Those games are fantastic. SteamWorld, Dig 1 and 2 are great. Metroidvania platformer games. Mike, I'm looking at you. SteamWorld Heist is like a cool like turn-based strategy game. And I haven't yet to play the newest game. I think it's called SteamWorld Quest, which is like a card-based or a card turn-based RPG. But yeah, I love the stuff they create. So this is another trailer I'm going to have to watch after we do our podcast here because this seems really cool. There's a new expansion for Phantasy Star Online 2, which looked pretty nice. I don't know. The visuals look completely different because Phantasy Star Online has been out forever. So I don't know if this is like an enhanced version of the game or a brand new game. I'm a novice here. I don't know much about Phantasy Star, so meh. Last but not least, the most important news, longly rumored, finally announced, Fable. They are bringing back Fable. After what feels like a wait that lasted forever, Microsoft finally revealed that the rumors were true, and Forza Horizon developer Playground Games has indeed been creating the next Fable game, called simply Fable. It's a new beginning for the beloved fantasy RPG series. I will say this, the trailer was a little nothing. They're really... my girlfriend kind of got mad at me because she was really excited about this. I'm like, it's very cool, but it's just a trailer, pretty much like an announcement trailer. Like, there's not really any gameplay or inclination of what kind of story you're going to be doing. I mean, it has that Fable charm. Honestly, if you watch the trailer, I said, like, it reminds me of Shrek because it's, like, crude fantasy, but it kind of looks like Pixar, like, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
It looks great, though. I am very excited for a new Fable. I enjoyed the Fable series back in the day.
No, I hear you. I think it's funny to kind of comment on what you said about how there wasn't a gameplay and everything. I'm the Metroid guy. I get reminded of Metroid Prime 4. All we got was a logo. But the point is, you just know that cool, it's coming. We're getting the game, and that's why it's exciting. You know?
Yeah. And much like Metroid, like Fable is a big name for Microsoft. Like that's definitely in their top 5 IPs that people recognize.
It's funny. It's actually one of their IPs we're getting about. Like, yes, they have Fable. It's actually a one that they should.
Because it's been so long. I think the last Fable game was Fable 3 on the Xbox 360.
Damn, that is a while. Wow.
Well, I think that's wrong. I think they made like a Fable Connect game, but who cares about the Connect?
That does not count.
Connect 2.
That's like saying Metroid Prime Pinball is a Metroid game. No, it's
Federation
not.
Force.
That's actually not a bad game. I can go on and on about that, but that's for another time.
Yeah, if you want to know some bad games, you could have just watched the Xbox Series X game. No, I kid. Overall, though, they did an all right job.
Yeah, it's kind of let's wrap it up. Despite the fact that there are some gems in this, it's just like, I guess when you compare it to like the competition, it's like really it's kind of like this is all you have. Then again, it's funny. I'll throw them a bone and I realize like back in the old days, sometimes like when a console was released, there was like granted there wasn't like a lot of third party support, but like there was like maybe 4 games like when like the Super Nintendo came out, like on like launch title wise, there was like 4 games. I think on the N64 there was 2 launch titles.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was Mario and Pilot Wings.
Yeah, so I guess in a way,
I mean, every console has their one game. Like for me, the Wii either launched with Wii Sports or Twilight Princess. The Switch launched with Breath of the Wild. You know.
Yeah. Again, I'll say like launch title wise, or at least just like early launch window, they have a lot of games coming up. It's just, yeah, I think people are just waiting for like, but where's all the other big names and stuff? I think I'll throw them a bone. I'm sure if Nintendo did the same thing, it's like why don't we have a game for every IP that you have yet? It's like give us time. They're hopefully they're coming. You know,
and they still have plenty of like exclusive stuff they haven't talked about, and there were a lot of other things announced here. I just kind of did the cliff notes or things I wanted to point out. You know,
I do want to point out Psychonauts 2. That's kind of exciting because that was a really
yeah.
That was like a diamond in the rough kind of a game. I know it's not the most popular, but that game did have a cult following, so I'm kind of shocked that that's coming back.
I should also watch that trailer because I know Jack Black recorded a new song for Psychonauts 2, and I kind of want to hear that because I love Jack Black. But yes, they have a lot of games. Like I think they didn't announce as much stuff as Sony, but they announced a lot of good stuff, and they have plenty of IP to still be working on. You know, there's no Gears in here. There's plenty of our other IP I'm forgetting about. Maybe a new Killer Instinct. Maybe Rare could actually dip into their old IP. Maybe make a new Conker, a new Banjo. You know, that would definitely be a huge thing. Perfect Dark. People are rumoring.
Yeah, don't get me started on Rare games. It's like, what are they? They're such a great studio. Why don't they have all these games? I can talk about that for hours. I honestly don't.
It would even be really awesome if they could just like, what if they just released like Banjo-Kazooie on the Xbox Series X, and it's like a super high fidelity like HD remaster of the first Banjo-Kazooie, but like you can see like the fur texture on like his hair. You know,
like. Yeah, if they were to actually do like a remaster of the game, or a complete, or I would say a remake of Banjo-Kazooie,
yeah.
It would be great. Like, and to be fair, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm sure a lot of work will go into it, but like the game's already done. You don't need them. You just gotta, you know, like half the game's already done. All the characters, all the world is all done. Now you just gotta draw and design everything. So that would be easy money, and I just can't I don't understand why they haven't even done something as simple as that yet. But
well, Microsoft needs some money, then they can try to make easy money.
Oh, what are you talking about? They have so much money. They have access.
They got to make the Halos, and then they can make whatever they want.
They've made how many Halo games, and how many?
They also made the Kinect.
Do you not realize that they actually have made 6 Halo games, and they've made 1 Banjo game? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. There's no excuse.
Yeah, Rare is clearly best designing games on Kinect. Didn't they make like 2 Kinect games for some reason?
I think did they make the one soccer game for the Kinect? I forget. Oh gosh, all that talent. The remaining talent. A lot of people. I know a lot of talented people left Rare, but there's still so much talent at Rare. And I'm not trying to downplay Sea of Thieves. I'm just thinking
Get excited for Everwild.
Yeah, Everwild. I'm very excited for that. But it's like, again, I don't even want to like walk over Sea of Thieves. I heard like a lot of people like Sea of Thieves. Yeah, I mean, visually, I think the game is a great art style. Like, I think it's a fun game. Being able to, it's basically the pirate version of Assassin's Creed. I heard that's one of the best games ever. Black Flag. I heard it's amazing.
Too. Yeah.
It's like they say this is literally a pirate simulator, and Sea of Thieves is the same thing, but obviously it's a bit more fantasy. Like they have like
it has the rare charm.
Yeah, it has a rare charm. Exactly, the art style. It has it's more like Pirates of the Caribbean style. Oh, look, there's like zombie pirates and like sea monsters, for example.
Well, Mike, you'll be happy to know that you can get your Banjo-Kazooie mast or whatever the front of a pirate ship is called. And then you can have him there, Maybe if you hit him with a cannonball, he does the Gah-ha!
Gah-ha!
So, yes, if you want a HD remake or complete remake of Banjo-Kazooie, please...
Like Smash Bros.
Thank you. You took the...
I'm sorry, that takes your joke.
This is why you're my co-host. You.
Oh yeah.
All right, we talked enough about the Xbox. That's all cool. Video games, man, they're just a waste of time, right? Speaking of wasted times, Suikoden, I believe that's how you say that.
Well, that's Joe Rogan. He knows so much about
Creators announced spiritual successor. Oh boy, Eiyuden. Yeah, that sounds right. Chronicle. Eiyuden Chronicle. That is Eiyuden. But yes, key members of the development team behind cult classic RPG series Suikoden has announced a Kickstarter for the spiritual successor, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. And I will actually let everyone know that they've already surpassed their Kickstarter, which only went up, I believe, 2 or 3 days ago. I know how big Suikoden is, even though I've never met someone who's actually played the games. I know nothing about the series. I just wanted to point out how cool this game looks, if this is what Suikoden was like. This is giving me big Octopath Traveler vibes, where it's like these beautiful like backgrounds and scenery that are actually in really high def, and then like the characters are just like sprites, like 2D sprites running around the like beautiful like... Just look up the visuals for this game on the Kickstarter, and like it almost just sells the game to me, because like even all the character designs are really cool. There's like, you got your 2 main heroes. There's a man with like 2 staffs and a sword. They're okay. But then you got this wolf guy who's got a sword, literally like a werewolf man. There's good designs here. This looks interesting. They got my eyes on this, and clearly it's being made. Although again, I don't know anything about Suikoden.
Yeah, I can't say I know much about it either.
Huh. Well,
yeah, I'm sorry.
You'll have to go to another pod. Maybe on the Joe Rogan Experience you can learn about Suikoden. Maybe you can write him in. I don't know. I just wanted to point it. I think it looks cool. Moving on. Fantasy Strike becomes free-to-play fighting game. All characters playable for free. Fantasy Strike has dropped its price tag and became completely free to play on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC, while also adding 2 brand new characters in its latest update. Unlike other free-to-play fighting games on the market, though, Fantasy Strike's entire roster of 12 characters is playable without a paywall. Instead of monetizing its characters, developer Sirlin Games has implemented a new optional subscription service called Fantasy Plus. Fantasy Plus offers bonus XP gains, grants access to special master costumes for each character who reaches level 20, and introduces a new replay theater feature that allows players to rewatch their own matches in addition to searching for matches to watch from others. A Fantasy Plus subscription can be purchased in 1-month, 6-month, or 12-month increments, priced at $4.99, $24.99, and $39.99 respectively. I give the studio, what were they called? Sirlin Games, the biggest amount of respects. This is a great move. Especially, it's very revolutionary, for fighting games. There have been free-to-play fighters before, but never one where you get access to the entire roster, and you're essentially paying for cosmetics, and I guess replays, which are somewhat important, but I really don't... Like, this is awesome. I'm praising them. Good job, guys.
Interesting.
Don't quote me on this, but I believe it also has crossplay. I mean, that makes sense. It's just a fighting game. Maybe it doesn't have crossplay yet. I'm not seeing it in the article. Okay, Uncertain if it has crossplay or not, but I just think this is really cool. I just wanted to point it out. Go give it a try if you want. It's kind of like it's got a medieval theme, but it's a very simplistic fighter. Kind of is giving me like Street Fighter 2 vibes, but it of course it's like 3D models and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's a neat thing. Fantasy Strike has been in development for a while now, and I've seen it here and there, but it's cool to see it like fully developed, and now it's free to play, which I think is really going to help its popularity. Next up here, a very small news story. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War logo seemingly leaked by Doritos Bag Promotion.
Oh, I heard about this.
Funny enough, there was a story from earlier this week where I think a Monster can or something leaked like the art of Halo Infinite, before they actually just announced like the box art and stuff like that. So a lot of snacks and snack food items leaking video games nowadays. But there's not much to say about this article. There was just a bag of chips with double XP, and it has the logo Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which I'm just going to throw out and say that's one of the worst Call of Duty names ever. It's literally like two subtitles, Black Ops and Cold War. I get it, guys. You want the word Black Ops in there because it sells. It's like Modern Warfare. That's the franchise. It's almost like you could have just called it Call of Duty Cold War.
Yeah.
Or Call of Duty or Black Ops Cold War and just drop Call of Duty because we know what the fuck. It's a mess. It's too many logos. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And I believe this is probably the logo. Sorry, I keep cutting you off, but sorry.
That's all right.
This seems official, but God, this is stupid.
Blame the marketer. So someone in the marketing is like, no, we have to put these on there. That way it sells. It's like, gosh, be creative, man. Like, I think just Call of Duty Cold War. That sums it up.
It's perfect. Yeah,
that's a badass title for a game. I think I think that'd be just fine. But no, you have to put Black Ops in there. That way, all the dumb little kids know. Oh, I love Black Ops, and then they'll buy it. Or that way, the dumb parents did to buy it for the kids. I should say.
All I'm gonna say is I've seen some crazy things. Who's to say that they don't pull this back from the backlash and actually just rebrand it Call of Duty Cold War or just Black Ops? Maybe something. Who knows? I've seen some crazy shit, guys. I don't know. And this could be fake for all I know. I've seen some pretty believable leaks. But I'm still shocked that it's almost August and we don't know about the new Call of Duty. I don't even know if one's going to come out this year. Like, they usually announce that shit in, like, May. As someone who follows Call of Duty. It's just weird. Because usually they do a big reveal for just the theme, and then they show, like, the campaign. Then they do the multiplayer reveal, which is huge because that's mostly what people play in Call of Duty games. And it's Black Ops, which means Treyarch is working on it, so they're probably making a new Zombies mode, and the Zombies community is like its completely own thing that's huge. So I'm just shocked that they haven't shown anything about this game yet.
Just blame it on COVID.
Yeah, probably. I mean, honestly, if they took a year off of Call of Duty, I think that would really help the franchise. And Modern Warfare is doing really well. They could just add like a couple more seasons. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I think it would be a bad thing to kind of take a break, because then by doing that, it just makes people. Whoops, excuse me, my fan just went off. That would make people even more excited. Hey, it's finally back.
Exactly. It makes you appreciate it more, and then you don't have all the developers like cramming to get a product out every year. And look at the success that Assassin's Creed has had. They used to be annual, and since Assassin's Creed Origins, which led into like these newer ones, they took a break. And from what I understand, they're also killing it. Like, they're doing great. I've been saying that for years, though. I think Call of Duty should not be annual. It should, have a break every once in a while. I digress. Let's keep moving on here. Speaking of games that we probably also have never played, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, that's fun to say, that's a good title. A spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio has officially been revealed. Cyberpunk will even feature music composed by Jet Set Radio maestro Hideki Naganuma, further linking the two series. Cyberpunk was revealed on Twitter today by Team Reptile, the developer behind Lethal League, Blaze, and Megabyte Punch. Start your own cipher and dance, paint, trick, face off with the cops, and stake your claim to the extrusions and cavities of a sprawling metropolis in an alternate future set to the musical brainwaves of Hideki Naganuma. The game's Steam page reads, according to the description, each stage will be a neighborhood that represents one time of day, and the game will be focused on single player. Like I mentioned before, I've never played the Jet Set Radio series. I just know its popularity. I feel like I've heard some of the music from it, which is banging, and I do love the aesthetic of it. It's very cel-shaded. It's giving me like Gorillaz vibes. I really dig it. But this is cool. I'm glad this is a thing. Yes, we're very versed in our video games. We can talk your ear off about John Halo Man, but then we're like, what is this Suikoden?
All I'm saying, please don't maybe make my one-word answer of cool or sweet. Like I'm ignorant and I just don't know much about the game.
But I love, it's okay.
But when you talk about it, I really do like listening and hearing about it. I really do. It's just unfortunately I don't have much to bring to the table.
That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. No, I'm not getting mad at you. I was just saying it's funny.
Don't
we don't know about these like big,
Don't yell at me, please.
All right. I'm going to yell at you because you know what? It's time for the Nintendo section of the podcast. You're at Level With Me podcast. We always love our Nintendo news. We love it so much. We always save it for the end. We have 2 stories here today featuring Nintendo stuff. First one here. Super Mario 64 source code leak may confirm Luigi was planned to be playable. Surprise Pikachu face. A recent leak on the Nintendo source code has potentially revealed some long-kept development secrets of some of our favorite Nintendo classics, including that Luigi was planned to be playable in Super Mario 64. Luigi's possible inclusion in Super Mario 64 is part of a much larger leak of Nintendo data on such games as Ocarina of Time, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Star Fox 2, Super Mario Kart, and more. As reported by VGC, there was an early build of Super Mario 64 called Ultra 64 Mario Brothers. That's a badass name. And it contains files that reference Luigi. Modders have taken these files and have begun recreating Mario's brother, and the results are pretty great. It's just honestly like a good representation of what you would expect Luigi would look like in Super Mario 64, like slightly taller and a little lankier.
A little thinner, but the bigger nose, I guess, too. But yeah, that looks like a Mario 64 version of Luigi from like from Smash Bros. Almost. It looks like the Smash Bros. Model.
Yeah, it does. But this is cool. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Do you remember the whole mystery of like in the back courtyard of Super Mario 64 is where the whole myth became like a real thing because there's like a did you know about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, the fountain that has like what people believe is inscribed on this little like nameplate saying the L is real. That's what they think it says.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what a dude. And people thought 9/11 had what a conspiracy theory. Man, the L was real was like the biggest one of our time, hands down.
Video games are cool.
Yeah, they are. I just saw the next topic, and I have so much to say about this.
But before we get onto that, though, I also want to say, I don't know if you saw, but there were some more like a few like months ago. There were like leaks of beta sprites in Pokemon. And there were some more revealed for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and they're pretty hilarious. Like they're literally like almost like very like quickly hand drawn like MS Paint versions of like I don't remember the names of like Nose Pass's evolution in Diamond and Pearl, but yeah, he literally just looks like a trapezoid. There's like a Regigigas who looks derpy as all hell. There's like Garchomp beta, which he's like orange and like slightly different. It's cool. Go look up the beta sprites. They're funny and cool.
I love that stuff. There's even like beta Pokemon from like the very first. Some of them are like, man, imagine if this was actually in Pokemon.
My favorite still to this day is beta version of oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name, but it's like Octillery's like, is it Remoraid, yeah. And in the beta version of Octillery was like a tank with like a shell thing around him. And Remoraid was, he was a gun. He was like a revolver. Go look it up. This is real. Anyways, our last story here. Brie Larson asks Nintendo to cast her as Samus in a Metroid movie. I mean, that's the whole news article. She's just on Twitter, you know.
Yeah.
I approve. I want that.
Yeah. Here's my 2 cents on that. A Metroid movie has been like theorized for like the last I would say the last 15 years. People have been talking about, oh, let's get a Metroid movie going on, you know, because it sounds like a great idea. And believe me, I would love for it to be a real thing. And I've always wondered, who would I want to play Samus? For years, I thought this. Believe me, I would think, man, who? Because I think initially, the one director, Wong, what the heck's his name? I have to look it up right now. Movie director Wong. Oh, gosh, I'm gonna be so mad. What the hell is his name?
Mike, you're tipping your toes right here. We might get canceled just saying Wong.
I know, because I'm saying Wong. I think he's an. I'm not trying to be like funny here. I think he's gosh, did he direct Dragon Ball Evolution? I think.
Oh, that's who you want directing your movie.
No, I don't. Because that's not a good example, but I think that's his last name. Anyway, the point is, but there was a rumor that he was working on a Metroid movie. That was the thing. There was a rumor about that, and I think they were mentioning possible casting choices back in like the late 2000s. So of course, where everyone's thinking at the time, like, oh man, I'm not sure who the heck.
You guys you got big brains like listening. You can go.
Brie Larson, people in the listeners or people in the comment section when this is uploaded on YouTube, you can go look it up yourself. But basically, Brie Larson, I think she does fit the characteristics of a sister, which is exactly what we need for a Samus character. I think Brie Larson does fill that perfectly. I'm just mad because I personally don't like Brie Larson as a person. Now, I don't know her. I don't know her personally, obviously, but man, there's a lot of drama around her over the last like 5 years, I think, and like some of the past movies she's been in, because she's a very vocal person. Like, she likes to speak her mind, and I think at some points she gets people mad where it's like, lady, you gotta shut up. You're making a lot of your fans angry. Like, I think this is going back to the whole Captain Marvel thing. I think even before, with that one movie she made, A Wrinkle in Time, apparently there's a lot of drama about that, too. Like, just to give you the cliff notes, apparently people obviously had divisive thoughts on the movie, and then she would, like, go on, like, social media and interviews and say, well, anyone who thinks that movie is bad, oh, then you're a sexist. And, like, she was just saying person in Hollywood, is all I'm saying, you know? So I'm worried that them casting Brie Larson as Samus in a Metroid movie would actually hurt the turnout for people going to see the movie. It's kind of like if Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Right now.
You know
what I'm saying?
I want the end of the Metroid movie to pan out, and it's like, you know, you and me are just sitting there, and you were playing like Metroid, and you're like, "So Corey, what'd you think of Metroid?" I'm like, "It sucked," or something. Speaking of video games,
and then I start crying, man.
That was that's all of our video game news.
Oh, I do want to say one quick thing, really quick.
Oh, please.
Who I would want to catch. I would like to be the person who the female actress to play Samus.
Oh, you want to play her? You'd kill it, Mike.
No, I want to. No, I would love to wear the suit. Believe me, but I have some casting ideas. One is Charlize Theron. I think she just looks just like Samus, and I think she's also a very strong female. Like, she always does strong female roles in her movies. That's one of my options. Another one that came up recently is Scarlett Johansson. I think it's doable. Like, if I heard she was going to be Samus, I'd be like, okay. I can see her doing that. She's not my number one choice, but I'm okay with that. And here's one. This might be divisive to a lot of people, but someone mentioned years ago when I always have Metro talk on my mind. Someone said, "You know who I want?" And I totally agree. Gwendolyn Christie. Now, for those of you who don't know who she is, she's actually she's Captain Phasma in the most recent Star Wars movies, but obviously she's not always wearing that silver helmet. She also, for any of you who are Game of Thrones fans, now the joke is in Game of Thrones, oh, she's like a man, she's very like masculine, she's a knight. But the thing is, like, obviously, like, if you were actually like see her like in public, like with makeup and her hair done,
yeah,
she doesn't look that bad. I don't think I don't think she perfectly is like. Because Samus is supposed to be beautiful, and I don't think Gwendolyn Christie's on like my top 5 of the most pretty actresses. And I'm not trying to downplay this. I think she's attractive.
Yeah.
The point is, she perfectly fits the role of a strong female.
Oh, definitely.
Character, because Samus actually is supposed to be like 6'2". Samus is a very tall character, kind of like an Amazon or an Amazoness, you know. Like, so, when someone mentioned it, I'm like, you know what? I agree. Gwendolyn Christie, let her grow the hair out. Let her get that little mole on her bottom chin because Samus has like little that like stereotypical like beauty mark mole.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, you know what? I would love to see that. But anyway, that's I'm done.
I hope they use practical effects and like, you know, Ridley and what's the other guy, the big dragon? Craig.
Oh, Craig.
Jerry.
Yeah. Jerry.
Yeah, I want them all to be big, like, rubber suit guys. Like
Jerry and Rodley.
And then there's some sort of, like, Ridley has to have a line about how he got in Smash, and everyone's like, what? That was a zinger. It's time for the rest of the second half, you know? What we
the good part.
Watch and played this week. Why don't you take it away, Mike? You can start.
Sure. Well, I don't really have much to say on what I've been watching. Amanda and I started to rewatch. It's funny. I was just talking about this Game of Thrones because you know we finished watching Game of Thrones a few months ago and we loved it. The show is cool, but now that we're going to rewatch it, we figured like, oh, this is actually a great opportunity to like, you know, just to rewatch it, and because now we know all the characters. It's not like we're trying to like oh wait, what's that character's name? I don't know. So we know all the characters, we know what's going on, and now we can pick up on what, you know, like on all like just like the plot points, the story. Like now it's like cool. We can go back and rewatch it all and see if we missed anything. So that's kind of exciting.
Definitely.
So that's kind of cool. But more importantly, I have been playing more of The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and I have to admit, Corey, I still have my viewpoints that the controls are a little bit wonky. Just because, again, it's a Super NES game. I understand. Like, well, I'm just saying that's my only criticism is just the control scheme. Just because it's a little bit tough. It's kind of like because obviously like when you're like a lot of 2D Zelda games have this problem where like the top down 2D Zelda games where, you know, it's. I wouldn't say Link has like tank controls. He definitely had more tank-like controls in the very first Zelda game. But in this one, he can move in 8 directions. He can swing a sword as opposed to a stabbing motion. He swings his sword. He gets good range. But man, there are times where there's just some times where I get a little frustrated with the controls because I got to I'm right now I'm in the 4th dungeon. So for all you Zelda fans, I'm sure you're all just, you know, very excited to hear this. So I got to the point where I got the Master Sword. I went to Hyrule Castle and I fought against the wizard Aghanim, I think his name is.
Yep.
And so far, I'm like, hey, the first 3 dungeons are cool, and I like how the game has. I think I mentioned before. I mentioned how the game has a good map function. It tells you where to go, but it doesn't hold your hand. It's very well done, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the art style. I'm loving the gameplay. Awesome. And then we got to the 4th dungeon, which is the very first dungeon that you encounter in the Dark World. And I was, again, enjoying it up to the point where I got to the dungeon, and man, it was just in this dungeon. I don't know if this dungeon might have a name. I think it's like the Dark Palace. I don't quite know. Maybe you know, Corey, what the fourth dungeon's actual name is.
Not off the top of my head.
But this is the dungeon where, this is the dungeon where you get the hammer. And it really doesn't let you do much. I think it's just you need the hammer just to get to the main boss because just like it like hammers down these stakes and then okay cool now you can get to the main boss and then you use it to fight the main boss.
Makes a good sound when you hit the ground. It
it knocks over those turtle enemies.
Oh, oh, oh. That's the boss sound. Guys, I could just make the whole game like just with sound effects.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't need composers. They just need to hire Corey, then you can do all of the. No, better yet, you should play the GBA the GBA port. Do you ever play the GBA port of Link to the Past?
I have not.
Oh gosh! Every time you swing your sword.
Oh no!
Yeah, they say that's the worst part of the game because it has Child Link's voice in it, so it's just over and over and over.
Why did they need to add that? It's fine. He didn't need to make a noise.
No, all you need is a little when he gets hurt. Yeah. But anyway, so in this dungeon is where the controls really hurt me, just because like there's times I gotta make sharp turns, avoid bad guys, and man, some of these villains are just some of the bad guys are just so frustrating. Like there's like this little there's like little jellyfish guys, the red and blue ones, and I go over there. I'm like, okay, you're just floating there. Attack with my sword, and the second I swing my sword, I'm gonna cover myself in electricity, and I hurt myself. I'm like, yeah, are you kidding me? And then there actually is an area in this dungeon where, oh look, there's a secret area where if you break this wall with a bomb, I think. Look, there's 3 fairies, and each fairy will fully heal you, I think. And luckily, I had my red potion, and I'm like, oh, well, cool. Oh, I'm hurt. I don't have to waste my potion. Let me just get a fairy and heal myself up. Sweet. Then I went throughout the rest of the dungeon, and I admit it was being confused with the dungeon's puzzles. But I eventually, I think it's because I didn't realize there was this like one like locked door. It blended into the wall, so I didn't see it. But eventually, I got it. I got the big key, so I can unlock the treasure chest and get the hammer. I'm like, all right, finally, I'm rocking and rolling, and I'm good to go. But during all this, I kept having all these stupid encounters with some of the enemies, and I'm just, especially those little like, they look like these are also like jellyfish or octopus things that you can't hurt them, but you can when you hit them with the sword, they bounce back, and then they bounce you back, and they knock you off the ledge. And all you can do is try to knock them off the ledge or whatever. Or no, I think you can kill them. But the point is like,
I hate those things. Yeah,
they're like bumpers. I can't tell how many hearts I lost just in those like little areas because you're surrounded by bottomless pit. So ultimately, I lost. I used my red potion, and I'm at like 1 heart, and of course there's the annoying like little heart thing, the health warning. So I said, all right, let me go back to that hole in the wall where the other fairies were, because there were still 2 more fairies left. And so I went there, I touched the fairy, I'm fully healed. Awesome, time to go fight the boss. And then I said, hey, I have an empty jar. And history shows I can gather fairies in these jars. Apparently you can't. Maybe you can tell me, like, you can't get a fairy in a jar, can you, in Link to the Past?
You definitely can. I think you might need an item.
Maybe I screwed it up, because I had the fairy, I had the jar, an empty jar, mind you, and I was like near the I was trying not to touch the fairy, and I'm hitting the Y button saying, all right, like, scoop up the fairy with my jar, and
I got the answer right for you. You need the net. There's a net.
Oh, I have the net.
Yeah. When you catch a fairy, if you have an empty jar, it'll say like, I think it just goes in there.
Mad.
No, it's good. It's like a little extra step you wouldn't think about.
Well, now I know, but God, the problem is though, I'm like, I didn't get that. And then the fairy moves towards me, and I'm like, oh, did I get it? Like, nope, it's not in the jar, and I just wasted the fairy. And on my trek to the boss, to the dungeon's boss, I lost a lot of hearts. Just because, again, the control scheme in this dungeon specifically has been very tough.
That's honestly a tough dungeon, thinking about what you're talking about.
Yeah, because then like last night, I played a little later than usual. I work early, so I think I played till like about 10 o'clock at night, which I know is child's play to some of you gamers out there. But even Amanda was like, "Mike, you're up past your bedtime." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I am." So I saved the game. I'm playing on the Switch, so I could just like save immediately or make a save point, and then just go to bed. So I got to the boss, which I thought was like a Dodongo, but I think it's just like some kind of like giant armored lizard thing. Maybe it is a Dodongo in the game's sense. I don't know. And obviously, you use the hammer to break its like face mask.
It's pretty easy.
But the thing is, I only have like 1 heart now, so I'm like playing it on I'm playing the game on like a suicide run or a sudden death.
Yeah.
And And I'm thinking to myself, man, do I just take the lost die and then just travel back there with like a potion and full hearts? Now that I know what the dungeon is, and I'm like, you know what? There really is no shame in that. That's kind of what everyone did in playing Zelda games. You know, you let yourself die, you fully heal, and you go into. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'll beat him. It's just frustrating because this dungeon in particular was really like making me realize how stiff the controls can be for the game. Again, not to downplay the game and say it's bad. The game is fun, and I'm realizing why people love this game so much. So I am greatly enjoying it, and I can't wait to play it again later this week.
So I played through that game a few times, and yeah, that first like dungeon in the Dark World is actually really tricky because it kind of almost like shows you like, oh yeah, this game's like kind of challenging.
Yeah, it's like roguelike where I'm like, man, like there's like you just take hits very easily, and the bottomless pits are the worst. They're like the most annoying thing ever.
And you don't have a lot of health at that point. Honestly, It really helps when you get the blue tunic because you take half your health, or you'll take half health. So instead of taking one heart, you'd take half a heart. It really helps. Yeah. But yeah, another thing that's really tricky about that game is that so. When you go in a dungeon, there's always like either skulls or pots that you can pick up and throw, and they have items usually in them, whether they be rupees or the little magic containers or heart containers. Well, if you don't pick those up the second that you get them, they kind of don't spawn again, at least in Link to the Past. So if you see a heart and you don't need to use it, just don't touch it, and I believe it will stay there. But if you touch it while you have full health, you just kind of wasted it. So the moral of the story is just, if you're full health, I would just leave those pots alone and just come back when you need hearts.
I kind of learned that the hard way because I'm like, oh look, hearts, and like whatever, I'll just pick them up, and then later I'm like, wow, these are not respawning. Because then
you have to try to fight the enemies, and they don't guarantee you hearts. You have better odds of getting hearts when you're low health, but yeah. And I highly recommend getting the fairies or the red potions because it's just that beginning part, especially when you don't have a lot of items. Once you start getting more of the items to use and more health, it'll help you.
Yeah, cause I think I have a fair amount of heart. I think I have like 8 hearts, so like I have a decent amount of health. It's just the hits add up, and I'm just like, the game can surprise you with some difficulty,
But again, a lot of it's like kind of vague. So like, I don't even know if the net is a required item. That might be like a little side item you can find. There's a lot of side items and stuff in this. Like, it's actually a really well-made game with like all the different little optional stuff in there.
Yeah. Oh, here's a little thing I want to mention. Speaking of side items, because when I was in the third dungeon, which is like, I think it was called the Tower of Hera or Hera's Tower.
Yeah.
That's where you. That's like the final dungeon where you get like one of the pendants to go get the Master Sword, and it was funny because when I got to the top, that boss is annoying. Moldora, like the little centipede thing that bounces you around. Oh my gosh,
that's probably the most annoying boss in the whole game.
Yeah, I think he's like a meme. He's just that boss, and then obviously if he knocks you off, his health resets. Like, ugh. But anyway, I realized, I actually beat the dungeon. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't get the dungeon item in this game. Like, what was it? So I actually, even though, because obviously when you beat the game, you leave the dungeon. I'm like, oh crap! So I had to go through the whole dungeon again. I found the giant treasure chest, and I'm like, oh wow, because I didn't need it. So I said, but wait, how do I? It's one of the puzzle was you had to go to the above and like fall through a hole.
Yep.
And I just didn't notice it because I got through the game, but like I never hit a roadblock. So I'm like, oh, I guess I need an item here. So I Googled it. I'm like, oh, what is this item? And apparently, it's like a non-optional item, or it's an item that's like not required to beat this dungeon. And it's basically an item. It's like a pearl that when you go to the Dark World, you.
Ooh, yeah.
You don't. I think it was early in the game when you enter the Dark World, you're like a little rabbit figure. But then if you have this pearl, you remain as Link in your human form. It sounds like kind of like a precursor to like Twilight Princess, how like
kinda,
you go into. Yeah, it's how you turn to the wolf or whatever. That's kind of neat. Like now that I think about that, it's kind of cool. But so I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like if I didn't stop myself and Google this, could I have like made like my game journey a lot harder? Because technically, after you defeat the third dungeon and then you go fight Aghanim, you have to go to the Dark World. But it's like, what if I didn't have that pearl? Is the game like stuck? Like, it kind of makes me think like, what would happen if I didn't get that pearl?
No, I think you
it was non-optional.
I think you can get out of the Dark World with like the teleporters, or I think there's a way that you'd be able to come back, and then you'd have to probably just figure out what you missed.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, because I have the mirror. The mirror lets you leave the Dark World. But I'm just thinking like, I wonder like back in the early 90s where people were playing this, I'm sure they're like, wait, like what do I do here? I'm stuck. I can't be Link. I can't be Link in the Dark World. And it's like, I bet like people didn't realize, you have to go back to the third dungeon, which actually is going to the third dungeon actually is like a trek. Like it is kind of like
going up the
up
mountain.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is 2020. I literally played more of The Last of Us Part 2 this weekend, and I also was like, where do I go? How do I get out of this? I'm stuck. So I'm just saying that still happens.
It still happens, yeah. Anyhow, so that's all I've been playing mainly.
I love that game.
I'm really starting to love it too. So good stuff. So how about you, Corey? How was your week? What did you watch and what did you play?
Let me take a gulp here because I actually have a lot of stuff on my plate right now.
Oh, cool. I'll take a sip of water as well.
Alrighty. So let's go over what I watched. I was going to say about Game of Thrones, too. I really want to... I need to get back into watching that because I've never seen the whole thing. And I got to about season 3, and that's kind of where I tapped out. I think I even started watching it this year, or maybe like around the end of last year. But I really love it. It's just I got distracted, but I want to get back into it because Game of Thrones is good. It's real good.
Yeah, it is.
Anywho, what I watched this week is I finished Buddy vs. Duff with my girlfriend. In case you guys forgot, this is like a baking competition show with Buddy, the cake boss, and Duff Goldman from one Ace of Cakes. And I'm just going to say right now, Duff won. Enough said. Good job, Duff. The heel was defeated as he should have been. I don't know. It was a fun little baking show. Moving on. I watched Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt versus The Reverend. So I wrapped up the season of all the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt series, I guess. And I think this came out this year. This was kind of like their one last hoorah. And they made a Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt movie that's an interactive movie. So it's almost like a video game. And this is on this is on the Netflix. And, it was kind of weird. Honestly, it was kind of just like a long form of an episode. So maybe it's almost like an homage to some of those like straight to DVD or straight to like the store movies, if you will.
Yeah.
But overall, it was pretty good and pretty funny. I enjoyed it. Without giving too much away, it's kind of almost like there's like a big backstory about like what happened to Kimmy Schmidt and some of these other women. Like they were essentially like kidnapped and then freed. Well, like the main plot is that there might have been more girls, and like Kimmy is going with her friends through West Virginia to try to find like the rest of these girls. That's not really a big spoiler. That's kind of just like the basic plot. But anyways, there was a talking backpack, which is weird.
Backpack.
I don't.
Backpack.
Funny enough, it was purple.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know why that character was there. I forgot to put this down in my notes, but Daniel Radcliffe is in this. He's like Kimmy Schmidt's like fiance or groom to be, whatever you call that. I always like seeing him. The Harry Potter jokes fly loose and plentiful whenever I see that guy. I also got a good belly laugh at this one scene where one of the characters, Titus, who's this like a little overweight, like black gay character, and he accidentally took some drugs, and they're kind of like walking through the forest, and he just sees like this out of nowhere, like a cartoon, like plate of just amazing food, like everything you would want, like the most exquisite and decadent food. And he just runs over there and starts eating it. And while he's doing it, there's like all this beautiful like lens flare and like effects going on the screen. And there's like this like song that's playing that's like some sort of like how would I describe it? It's almost like a song out of a Disney princess movie, like when the prince and princess are like dancing at the end or something. So it's like a magical, like he's so happy, and then like he's eating all this stuff, and then like 5 seconds later, it pans to him just eating dirt, like on the in the middle of the woods, like on the ground. I don't know why that was giving me. It was just the choice of the music that they were playing as he was eating that was really cracking me up. It was good though. I really enjoyed this. It's funny, like, experiencing this because I feel like back in the day, everyone was like, "Oh, that's the future of movies when they're going to be interactive, where you can press like what that character is going to do." But I don't know. It's a little gimmicky, but it is fun. We also I forgot to put this in the notes too, but we also lost like more times than I thought I would or thought we would, like because you can get like fail states in the movie where you're like the characters are like, "Oh, that's not how this should end. You got to do a re-over." And it's like, well, are we even getting free choice at this point? But we like lost a lot of the scenes, quote unquote lost. And we even got kind of a bad ending, not for our main protag, but one of her friends. It was kind of funny. It was like one of the characters ends up lying, and she's a girl, and I think they're in like Hollywood or New York, and they literally are like, "Oh, women can lie. All us men can go back to being how men used to be," and all the men are like taking off their pants and like sexually harassing the women. I mean, it's tasteful sexually harassment, so it's. I mean, I don't know how you do that, but I mean, they're not like humping them or like they're just like, yeah, it's really odd. Like me and my girlfriend are like, how'd they get away with this? Because this came out this year. And it's one of the states the movie can get in. I guess we got a bad state on that part, but at the end of the day, Kimmy did get married. Spoiler alert, and it was okay for Kimmy. But anyways,
that's sexual harassment. Don't worry, it's tasteful.
That was odd. Yeah, I don't know. This might be a problem in a few years. That's all I'm saying.
Great. Now, and because you brought it up, now the Level With Me podcast is going to get demonetized, and we're going to lose everything.
Oh, we're going to get demonetized for way more reasons than just that. Oh. Don't worry. I've said a lot of shit on here.
That's true.
Speaking of shit, I watched an anime movie, and it was called A Whisker Away. So this was, I believe it was called Netflix produced. I put that in quotes because I don't think they actually... You know, some studio in Japan made it. Maybe Netflix paid that studio to produce it, I guess. But it is an anime. It's not a America or whatever it's called. You know, kind of like Avatar. Like it's a
in American anime, as I call them. You know?
Yeah. But the gist of this movie is this is a very wholesome movie. It almost reminded me of like a Disney film. It wasn't like very dark or had like that much deep themes. Like it was a little childish, but I did enjoy it. Basically, this girl. They're all in middle school because it's an anime. They're always in either middle school or high school. This girl is kind of in love with one of the boys and kind of wants, you know, probably to date and marry her because she's young and innocent still. And she doesn't know how to get the boy's attention, or the boy seems like he doesn't want to deal with her. So she makes this deal with this like magical wizard cat demon guy, and basically gets this mask that allows her to turn into a cat. And what she does is at night she'll turn into a cat and run over to like his house. And for some reason he really likes the cat. I think there is some story significance to that. I probably shouldn't say, but he gets really attached to this like new stray cat, and which is this girl that really likes him.
Ooh, interesting.
So right off the bat, yes, there's a lot of jokes you can be made with that because there are some very weird scenes where he's petting her in certain ways, and she's making weird noises and expressions, and it's like, this is getting a little bad, guys. I don't know if we should be watching this. You know, we start looking around the room like, is this okay? But overall, like I said, it's a very wholesome movie. All right, you got to look past some of that stuff and kind of look at what it's going for. But I really enjoyed it. It almost reminded me of a Miyazaki movie. Of course, the animation's very crisp and clean. The dub was really good too. I don't even think it was that long. It might have been like under 2 hours. Very like doable if your time, depending on how much time you want to waste. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but I really liked it. It was pretty interesting. A little down the road, I'll give you a little tease of kind of where the story goes, but it's kind of like it almost reminded me of The Little Mermaid a little bit, where it's like hey, you like being the cat so much? Well, guess what? Cats want to wear your human mask, so if you keep being a cat, eventually I'll take your human mask and you'll stay a cat forever. There's kind of a Little Mermaid thing going on there.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. It was a good movie, though. I recommend it. Other than that, that's all I really watched of significance. I can get into the games I played this week, which I have a few here. So Animal Crossing, that continues. I don't really have too much to say other than the bug off was this weekend. So
do tell Corey, what is the new bug of the week?
So for those of you who don't know, Animal Crossing has these like monthly events where there'll either be a fish off, or I think it's just called the fishing competition, and then there's the bug off. And basically all it is either CJ or Flick, the representative of bugs or fish, will come to your town, and all the villagers, including you, are doing this competition where you basically hit a button, a timer starts like 3 minutes, and it's like catch as many fish or catch as many bugs as you can get in that timer. And depending on how many you get points, like rewards. And then you get points for how many you capture, and then you can transfer the points to get special rewards that you can't get, any other time. I had fun playing it. I will say though, this is the second one they did this year. The first one I played, my girlfriend played the one prior and a little bit of this one. And when she was playing, she was expressing a lot of issues she was having with the game. And I'm like, is it really that bad? Like, I don't know. Like, is she just kind of like rushing a little bit, or like, I don't know. Like, I wanted to experience it myself. Not that I didn't believe her, but I don't know. I was a little skeptical. I'm like, I don't know. Like, she was saying it was kind of rigged. Like, maybe the bugs don't spawn as much as they should, or yeah, like stuff like that. And I'm like, let me see here. And turns out all she said was absolutely right. It seems like when you begin the bug off or the fishing competition, the spawns of whatever you're trying to capture aren't that great. Like, you can't find as many bugs or you can't find as many fish. I almost feel like it's almost like RNG. So some rounds you'll get like a lot of one type of creature, but other rounds you won't get as many. She also told me about a point where like it's kind of annoying because it's just kind of how Animal Crossing is, where I think Nintendo needs to modernize it a little bit more. But it's like, when you're done with the bug off, you got to talk to Flick, and he tells you how many points you got and how many bugs you capture. Then the conversation stops. Then you got to talk to him again to sell all the bugs you just captured, because why do you want to keep a bunch of butterflies and stuff? So you sell those. Then the conversation ends again. Then you got to talk to him again to either do another round of the bug off or redeem your points for prizes, which could lead into another conversation. It's just like there should be a way to just continue the like menu prompts. Like it shouldn't just have to keep like backing you out. Like, it's so unnecessary. This is such a small, minute detail, but it is like this could be like streamlined much easier. Which I think a lot of people, a lot of things in Animal Crossing could be a little bit more like easier.
Yeah, like I heard there's a lot of like quality of life improvements that could be made. Like, I think I'm sure you can confirm this. Like, I heard
Absolutely.
Like if you want to buy something or craft something, it's like you have to craft every individual item. You can't be like, can I just craft 5 of this? Like,
yes.
No, you have to craft it 1. Cool, here's your item, and go through the menu again. Yep. So it can be very monotonous trying to get through it, and tedious. But
I agree. But I'm still having fun with that. I just check in it like every couple of days or so, and I don't play for very long, maybe like an hour or so. I played some more of that there. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu with Abra over at Loudstone Entertainment. Me and him are doing a Let's Play. We continue through there. I'm trying to remember because we recorded a few days ago of everything we did. I know we were making our way through one of the caves that leads us to Lavender Town. I'm blanking on the name of the cave.
The rock tunnel, I believe.
Yes. We entered it, and we got, Pikachu had to flash the whole cave, so it was illuminated. And it kind of got me and Abra talking, like, first of all, what is this doing? Like, what is Pikachu producing that makes the cave, like, that you can see in it now? Like, Pikachu doesn't generate any like, when a Pokemon uses Flash, are they generating, like, where does the light come from? You know what I'm saying?
I think you hold the Pikachu, you get a stick.
That's not how it worked.
And you say, Pikachu, hold this stick.
He is not a flashlight.
And then you hold him like that's exactly what it is. And you flash, and then you just hold him like a flashlight or a torch.
It was also interesting seeing the Let's Go version of what the cave would look like. Because if you guys remember of what the Game Boy versions of the cave would be when it's dark, is it's basically like a little bubble is just around your character. So you can't see like anything in the environment other than just your character, and then it's all black. On this version, which everything is of course HDified, basically everything is like all like cell shaded almost, or all like one tone. So like there's a little bit of a fog that you can see a little bit, but everything's kind of like blacked out, so you can't really tell like where you're walking or if there's a wall or if there's an item. It's kind of interesting. I mean, we really didn't get to play with it that much because like immediately when we walked in, it's like, hey, Pikachu knows the special technique to light up the cave, and we're like, all right. But again, to my second point about this cave, there were trainers in the cave. Were they just in the darkness before we activated the flash? Like,
yeah, they're just chilling there. They're probably like, oh my, thank God someone knew Flash, because now I can get out of here.
We literally made that joke. We're like, oh, thank God, do you have any water? And we're like, no, we're just going to beat you in a battle, take your money, and leave you here.
and leave you to rot for the Onyxes to eat you.
It
was cool. If you encounter an Onyx, they actually are like life-size.
Yeah, we made that point, and you literally have to like, because it's like Pokemon Go. You capture, you throw the Pokeball, so you kind of have to like arc it a little bit higher when you're catching an Onyx because it's tall. It's neat. We had a big character update for our main man Swoop, which is our Pikachu. He leveled up enough that he learned the great technique Kyurem, otherwise known as Thunder. And with this newly acquired power, we evolved our Swoop into Sasuke, because Zippy Zap is clearly Chidori, and Thunder is clearly Kyurem. So Swoop is now Sasuke. Sasuke is in our party now.
Already jokes.
Also, we made it to Lavender Town. I love HD Lavender Town. I hope you guys go watch and see what it looks like. The theme is, of course, fantastic.
I was going to say, that eerie little theme.
It's so good and creepy.
Yeah, very creepy. Even as a kid, I would just rush to the Pokemon Center so I wouldn't have to hear that horrible sound. I appreciate it now as a kid, man. I hated the Lavender Town thing. It actually like scared me as a kid.
It is creepy, yeah. There's videos going on about like the tone and how it like drove children insane or some, you know, rabbit tinfoil hat stuff. You want to go look up.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know, since we evolved our Swoop, or as he is now Sasuke, we had him all in this nice little cute dapper sailor outfit, and we're like, nah, Swoop or Sasuke, he doesn't look like that. We need some nice like dark edgy things, you know, something you'd find at Hot Topic. And luckily enough, we talked to enough of the village or residents in Lavender Town, and this very nice old lady gave us a really cool looking snazzy black outfit, and you'll have to watch the episode to see what that looks like. We didn't really get too far in the tower. We got like one floor up, but we don't even have like the Sylph Scope yet or whatever, so we literally just got into Lavender Town. But that game's great. I have a lot of fun playing that game.
Good.
I think I pointed this out in the video too, or one of the Let's Plays, but I feel like a lot of people have been giving the Pokemon Company or the team a lot of crap for them not having a lot of unique move animations or stuff like that. I feel like in Pokemon Let's Go, there is a lot of cool attack animations. Like, look up Zippy Zap. Yes, it's a funny name, but it's a cool move. Look up Seismic Toss. Like, there are actually some pretty neat like moves in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're the same. I don't know if people want more than what that is.
Yeah, I think the complaint is that these are the same move animations from like the 3DS games. That's like the main complaint.
Fair enough.
Zippy Zap might be like brand new and
Zippy
unique.
Zap's definitely new. Yeah. That was like made specifically for Let's Go.
Yeah, because I know in Sword and Shield, like that's again the reused move animations are apparent in this game, and that's why people get frustrated because like the starter Pokemon each get their own unique attack that only they know. And they get unique animations, but then it's like if you want to do like bite attack, it's like this is the same bite attack since X and Y, and it's like where like you are shooting a bite at somebody. You know, it's like what? Like that's I think that's the main.
I know what you mean. Yeah, Yeah, and I don't like that either. That sucks. They should all be animated by now.
Yeah.
Anywho, though, who cares about Sword and Shield? Who cares about Gen 8 or whatever it is? I'm perfectly fine playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. It's a blast. I'm having a great nostalgia trip. It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
I also got around to playing a little bit more of Gears 5. I was enlightened by one of my friends that they had a new drop of like content, like a brand new season of like new maps and character skins and stuff like that. I also saw another one of my friends like hopping back in and playing, so I was like, I kind of want to check this out. I want to see all the different changes they made. They also like readjusted how you can unlock your cosmetics in the game. They made it like a much more like streamlined and simpler. I don't really have too much to say about this other than I just played a few rounds of it. I had fun. Maybe I'll play more of it. I actually didn't even get a chance to play any of the new maps. But I kind of like realized that I really do like Gears 5, and I kind of do want to play more of that game. Like I never even played the Horde mode in it. I didn't even touch the story mode, which I wanted to play. So I might dip back into this game a little bit more. Who knows?
Okay.
I mentioned this earlier, but I did play some more of that there, Last of Us Part 2. I played about 4 hours of that yesterday. I kind of have this goal, which I don't think I'm going to achieve at this point, but I wanted to beat this game before August. Maybe now, by next week, so August 8th or 9th. Hopefully I'll have this game done. I just want to get through it and, see the story and move on to something else. Not saying I'm rushing through it. I'm enjoying every second of it, but yeah, I'm just like, I've been on this game too long. I need to get going here. Anyways, I'll be a little spoiler light because I know, Mike, like you're watching me play the Let's Play, so I won't go too into depths, and I'm sure some people still want to play this game, so I won't go too in the weeds of what happened in this episode this session because it was 4 hours. There was a significant amount of content in here. I will say, I don't know. I don't think I'm at the end of my one segment, so Ellie and Dina, that's our sidekick character. They continue to explore Seattle. I will say there were a lot more combat engagements with human enemies, and some of them were really difficult. I was actually getting really upset, and I don't know if it's the difficulty I'm playing on, because I'm playing on like the hard mode. I don't know if it's just the nature of the game, because it's a very heavy stealth game. It seems like overall they added way more fights with humans, and I will honestly take hordes of infected and clickers for days. The humans with their guns, I don't like that. They're hard. They do a lot of damage. It's difficult. You shoot your gun once, and everyone's like, "What was that? She's over there." It's a little frustrating.
I like your little like Southern hick accent there. Oh, what was that? She's over there.
I will give a slight spoiler and say by the end of my segment, though, I did get the bow, which is very helpful. A silent kill weapon, and I can craft arrows now, which really helps. And that thing was pretty good. Another thing I never really thought about, which I also discovered around the end of my play session, is now in The Last of Us Part 2, you can actually go like prone on the ground and like crawl under things and through the grass to be like even more stealthy. But while you're doing that, you can fire your weapons. So a lot of the times I was kind of just laying around in the grass hoping enemies wouldn't see me as they're really close to me. But yeah, right around my end of my session, I'm like, oh, I can actually just shoot them. So like, even if they get really close to me, I can just headshot them with the arrow, and they're done.
Useful.
So
that's gotta be awkward trying to launch an arrow while prone.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
just for some gameplay elements too. I also learned how to make a suppressor for my pistol, which is super useful, but it only gets limited amount of uses. So it's essentially like after 3 shots, it breaks because it's kind of like made out of like a can or something you find. You like craft it, with your resources as you explore.
Oh, I see.
I ended up finding another skill book. So as you play, you find books where you can get like basically better perks and stuff like that. I think I actually might have got 2 in this session. I don't remember, but one was about like combat and one was heavy about. Yeah, I did get 2. One was about like stealth and one was about combat, which were both really useful. Like one was about like increasing your range of your hearing so you can clearly see what kind of enemy it is and how close or far away they are. One of the things which I didn't get yet is like while you're crouch walking, you can actually move a little bit quicker, which is pretty nice. I will give a little bit of hint to some of the things that happened in the story. Something does happen to Dina. She doesn't die or get bit, but something happens. And that's like your kind of like Ellie's girlfriend. I don't know how close they are, but yeah. And then a familiar face shows up in Seattle. I won't really say who. And there's some really... This is something I didn't know, this is kind of a somewhat major spoiler, but I didn't know there was going to be flashback scenes in there. So there's a segment coming up in this session where you actually go back and play as like a younger teenage Ellie, and Joel is with you. And it's actually very heartwarming and really cool. And actually right where I ended my session, there was another flashback scene, and I was with a different character. So I'm like, this is actually really awesome. I really like that that's in there. And there were some good jokes about a movie, but I won't spoil too much more. I will say, wait and see on the Level With Me channel.
I can't wait to keep watching.
It's getting good. I was getting really frustrated, though. Like, I was surprised. Oh, also, I found a new type of infected, which was really cool. It's kind of like an evolution of the clicker.
Ooh.
The one part I got frustrated at, I mean, it'll be apparent when you watch the Let's Play, but it was like this whole section that was like in a subway, and it was like the lighting wasn't great, and there was like a combination of like the infected and the humans. That's like a major theme, which is really cool because this did happen in my Let's Play too, but you can actually have the enemy forces fight each other. So if you're clever enough, you could like throw a bottle at the feet of the human enemies, and all the clickers, will rush them, and then they'll start fighting each other. You can kind of just sit back and, deal with whatever's left when you're done,
Yeah, I've always liked that. The first time I ever the Xbox 360 Turok game. And yeah, I remember like you could have like dinosaurs attack other dinosaurs, humans. Good stuff.
Yeah, you could like mark them. You had like flares and stuff like that. That game was cool.
Mm-hmm. That was a very underrated game, I would say. But yeah, I think it's cool that you can use that whole the enemy of the enemy is my friend technique in The Last of Us, and it makes sense to have zombies attack other humans,
right? Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure that was not in the first game at all. I think you never had like zombie human combinations in battle. I think it was only one or the other.
I think you're right, because the more I play this, like I'm saying, I think like you're just dealing with a lot more. Like that's kind of how they escalated or evolved the combat, is like you either have way harsher stealth segments where you really have to take your time, and you also have many enemies you're dealing with, and many armed enemies too. There were a lot of segments in this session I played where there are many enemies with guns all around me, and it's like if you mess up once, you're getting in a firefight immediately. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I also really love all the different like tools they give you with the crafting. Like I got these little they're basically like little mines you can put down, and they pretty much destroy anything that walks past it. Literally, in the
nail bombs.
It's kind of like the nail bomb. Like you just place it right on the ground, and it's pretty much a proximity mine. Like if anything gets close, it explodes. It's not a nail bomb technically, but could you throw the nail bombs?
Yeah, you could. It's funny because I remember like that nail bomb was like it's like, how are you holding this thing? It's just golden nails are just sticking out of this like tin can.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they were basically like the grenades of the game.
It's not as good as that. This is literally just a proximity mine where you activate it and you put it on the ground. And what's cool is if you don't use it, you can walk up and just pick it up. But yeah, if any human walks past that, I think, I don't know if they killed the clicker. I am playing on hard, but there was one human that walked past it, and I went to check on him, and literally all I saw was his torso and like a bunch of red. And I'm like, Jesus, man, that's brutal.
The details.
Yeah. But that game's still good. I'm really enjoying it. Just like, you can tell all the Naughty Dog love and money they put in there. Like, the game's just beautiful, man. Oh, man. Last but not least, I played the hottest new online card game that's sweeping the nation, known as Solitaire. It's free on your computer. Have you ever tried this out? It's pretty fun.
Oh no, I can't afford a computer. You know this, Corey. Come on.
Right, I forgot you're recording this on your T84 million calculator.
Yes, it's barely functioning, so I can't touch it or it'll fail.
That's how we actually record our Let's Plays, too. Through that thing. No, guys. Guys, I played Legends of Runeterra. Yes, the Riot Games' very own online collectible card game. The OCG, if you will. But yes, I really didn't know anything about this game other than it was recommended to me by friends before. And from what my understanding was, I always looked at this as just like Riot Games Hearthstone. Because I used to play Hearthstone a decent amount, and I did like that. But honestly, I think Hearthstone was a little bit more like a slightly faster-paced Magic type thing. This is similar, but to me it even feels like a little bit more sped up. And there are some elements about this that actually really remind me of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I think are really cool. So like I said, it's an online card game. Cool. Your goal is each enemy or each side has their Nexus, which has health, and you essentially want to get that Nexus's health to 0 to win. I don't know if you can deck out people to win. I haven't experienced a deck out yet. But yeah, it's 20 health on each side, and each round you draw one card. I think it's 5. Yeah, I think each player starts with 5, then they draw one, and every round you get 1 mana point per round. But what's neat about the game is it goes like back and forth, and they're almost like different phases, like Yu-Gi-Oh! So you have like each player draws. Then there's a coin that'll flip back and forth, and that's the attacker coin. And whoever has the attacker coin gets first summon. Then your opponent can either summon. You can summon as many monsters as you want, depending on how much mana you have. And then from there, you can engage like an attack if you have the attacker coin. And then your opponent will essentially block. And there are 2 lanes or columns in the field. One's like your row, where you summon your monsters into. And then the other lane is kind of like where you drag them, like when they want to attack. And I think you can have 6 creatures in total. Sorry if I'm getting a little like nitty gritty. I don't know.
No, it's fine. I mean, I'm taking it all in because games, so I'm just trying to picture it all in my head.
So one of the big things that's different about this game than Hearthstone, I compare it to that, is you don't have like a class that you play. Your deck is essentially your class, which again is giving me a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh vibes. You have lands or regions, kind of like Magic, but you don't have like a land that you're like, oh, I'm playing my fire land or my swamp. You get mana. I'm just saying there are pink cards for one land. I don't know the names of the regions because I'm new to the game. Don't kill me. But there are like red cards for the red region. There are green cards for the green region, etc. And you can kind of like mix and match different regions depending on what kind of deck you want to make, which is cool. And each of the different decks not only have their own gimmicks, but also have their own gimmicks within their gimmicks, because each deck has basically champions. So this is based on League of Legends. So there are champion cards from League of Legends, which are the characters. So
okay.
You have like, Ashe is like the starting character, which is this like frozen bow lady or frozen archer lady, essentially. And then there are other characters, but then there are also just other card units in there. But, there's all sorts of different effects they have. Kind of like this creature can't be blocked unless it has the whatever it's called. I think it's called, I don't remember what it's called. There's a lot of different like words and icons related to what they do. There's like a type of creature that can pick which unit is going to block it, which is pretty fun. So you can just take like one of their weaker units and kill it. There's like creatures that kind of have like piercing. So if they do over a certain amount of damage of the character's health, they just deal it to the Nexus. The creatures are like in Hearthstone, where they have the amount of mana they use, they have their damage, and they have their health, essentially. Then they also have effects. You can also level up the legends, and then they all have like a secondary effect. So a legend is a unique type of creature, but it's also kind of just like any type of creature. You just can't have 2 copies of the legend on the field at once. If you have 2 copies of the legend in your hand and you play one, it'll what's the word I'm looking for? It'll transform into like a spell. And I didn't even get into the spells yet. So I think there are 3 different types of spells. There are burst, slow, and fast. Slow, you basically just have to play like as one of your actions immediately. Fast, you can play in response to any spell or a slow or a fast spell. And then burst is kind of almost like the end-all spell. Like it's the quickest type of spell you can play. And burst you can also use like during any type of engagement. Like you can't use slow spells in combat. I think you can use some fast spells, but fast and burst are only like, during the attacking and defending phase. There's like a lot of depth in there. I really like how the combat feels. You have a 40 card deck. You're thinning through cards pretty quickly, and there are all the cards in there that kind of are the abilities in Hearthstone. So you have like a card that's like a 2 spell or 2 mana, and it's just deal 2 damage to anything. You have one that's like 2 mana, and it's like sacrifice an ally, draw 2 cards. Like you have those common abilities that you would expect out of a game like this. But it's really fun. I'm really digging it. I went through all the challenges, which are essentially kind of the tutorial that they use to teach you about all different types of cards and what you can do. There's a lot of fun, like interesting mechanics. Like the one character is named Teemo, and whenever he attacks the Nexus, he'll plant, I think it's 5 mushrooms on the enemy cards in the deck. And essentially, if your opponent draws a card and it has a mushroom on it, they take 1 damage per how many mushrooms are on the card, and they can stack. So like the whole gimmick with that is you play all these different cards that put mushrooms in the opponent's deck. And let's say they draw a card and it's got 8 mushrooms on it. Well, they're taking 8 damage to their Nexus. So it's almost like a slow burn effect, And if they draw cards through any other ability, like just, I play this card and it lets me draw 1 card, that card could have mushrooms on it too. Or, I'm playing this card and it So there's like a lot of cool, like fun stuff in there. There's this other archetype that will like summon barrels. And then whenever you do any like damage directly to the Nexus, the barrel will chain and deal an additional damage to the Nexus or any enemies you pick. There's like a lot of like cool, fun, gimmicky stuff going on in there, which I really like. I'm trying to think.
It's pretty cool. It does remind me a lot.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I didn't get to mention about it. I'm really enjoying the one mode. It's called Expedition. All it is like basically you have to spend, I forget what it's called in Hearthstone, but it's like where you build your own deck and then you play 7 matches and try to win, at least all of them, or if you lose 2, you're out. I forget what that was.
It's kind of like a draft. I think Hearthstone called it the Tavern Brawl.
There you go.
Or the Arena. They call it the Arena. Yeah.
I love that. I love that mode. I'm having a blast playing that. Granted, you do need to use like a currency to play it every day, but you get 2 tries, so that means 2 different decks. And I'm having so much fun. Like that's such a great way to learn the game because I get to build all these random decks. So I'm like, I'm going to try these cards, or I'm going to try this card because I don't have any cards right now. You do get a lot of cards as you play, but I don't have obviously like a lot of the good cards right now. I don't really know what kind of deck I even want to make. So it's a lot of fun playing this Expedition, like a draft where I get to try out all these decks and verse all these decks to get experience and play.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I'm sure at some point look up people who play this game and you can look up or even go on like wikis and like find this is the kind of deck I want to play.
Exactly.
Like maybe from playing this like drafting mode, you'll think, this deck actually was kind of cool, or these cards were cool. Let me see if there's a deck. And then I can build it,
Yeah.
Like Hearthstone, I had a bit of a slow learning curve again because like I didn't want to spend too much money in the game and I didn't have a lot of cards, so I was like, oh my gosh, like what can I build with the cards I have? And then like I would even just look up and say, okay, these are the cards I want to build this deck, and then I just know, okay, these are the cards I have to save up for. I'm pretty sure does this game have like an in-game crafting system? I guess.
Oh yes.
Okay, cool.
So I believe there's at least 2 different currencies I know. So they're very generous with giving you cards. The one thing that's cool is they'll give you like a wild different rarity type. So you could get a wild rare and it's like, I want this specific rare. I can burn my wild rare and then I just have it. And then you also get green. It's like green crystals. That's how you craft the cards. But then there's also just a currency you can buy, and then you can buy packs or buy cards straight up. Also, a lot of a lot of the microtransaction-y stuff is just all cosmetics, you know. Or if you just want to like actually buy the cards right away.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Yes, and I also really appreciate that I can play this game on my phone, and it's the exact same game. So I've been having a lot of fun. Like, you know, I'll just play like a round or two on my PC. Then, like, if my girlfriend comes home, I can go sit with her on the couch downstairs. Maybe she wants to play Animal Crossing on the TV, and I can just hop on my phone and play some Legends of Runeterra, and it's like the exact same game. It has the one deck that I was trying to make on there. It's great, man, and it's all like smooth and crisp. I mean, it's a card game. Really, all you're looking at is like the art of the cards, which is really cool. The cards also do this cool thing. Well, while they're in your hand, they're like the size of your card, like a normal playing card. But when you put them in the row to like attack or defend, they actually like the border, the sides of the card like extend, and they almost become like the size of like a VHS tape or something like that. And it actually extends the art, which is really awesome. So like all the cards actually, well, besides spells, have like extended art. Also, whenever you level up one of your the Legends characters, there's like a nice like animation that just splashes over the whole screen. So like all the different Legends have like a unique animation for leveling up.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think I tweeted something about this, but I really appreciate the work that Riot Games is doing. As someone who's never really played League of Legends, I really enjoyed playing Valorant, even though I don't play it now. It's not my game, but I can tell it's a well-made product. And playing this, I can also tell like it's a lot of fun. And I feel like I'm going to get heavily invested in this game because I'm really enjoying it.
All right, awesome, man. I mean, I'm getting I try to stick with just one card game, but I mean, this actually looks in front of that. I might even just try to check it out and see what it's all about. Because I did try getting into another card game, like just again playing for free. It was called Faria, and it was fun, but I quickly stopped playing it. You know.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I would love to hear your impressions if you do play it.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe for the next podcast. Who knows?
Speaking of the podcast, we are at the end. I need to ask you, Mike, do we have any questions this week?
Well, Corey, we have 2.
Oh, all right. Before we get into the questions, I want to remind the listeners that you can send us questions at either our Gmail, which is levelwithmepodcast@gmail.com, or on usually like the Monday, or yeah, we record these on Monday. So like in the morning on the Level With Me Instagram and on mine and Mike's Instagrams, which you can find in descriptions, we'll put up little questionnaires where you can enter a question there, and we'll give you a shout out then and read your question. And Mike said we got 2 today, so let's hear him, Mike.
All right. Well, this first question is actually from a fan of the channel, Owen Reese. He's back.
Hey, what's up, Owen?
His question is, are there any new games that are coming out that we are excited for? And I'm sure there. You have many games that we're excited for that are coming out.
I'm gonna try to pick 3.
Okay.
Maybe that's all I can think about.
Yeah, I'm guessing Owen meant, and this is coming from his Instagram, by the way. I'm guessing he means games that are known. So I mean, I don't know if you want to say 3 games that are known to be coming out, or as in like it's like confirmed. You know?
Yeah, that's how I interpreted this. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, I do need to think about this for a second. Well, right off the bat, I mean, we talked about it today. I am very curious to see whatever that new Call of Duty game is. I don't know if I'm excited for it, but I am very interested in that. Of course, I'm very interested to play that Cyberpunk 2077. That looks like it could be like almost like a Fallout type experience with like the amount of detail in the world. It's this like very immersive RPG set in this interesting cyberpunk future city. The gameplay looks really fun. I mean, graphically it looks incredible. I'm very, very excited for that. And I think for my third choice, which might be a little bit of a wild card, but I was really impressed seeing that Demon's Souls remaster on the PlayStation 5. I'm very excited to play that game, considering I've never played Demon's Souls. So that might be that might be the game I'm looking forward to the most, if not Elden Ring, which is From Software's new game, which we have no idea when that's coming out. Also, I mean, I'm going over my limit here, but of course, Breath of the Wild too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, don't worry. There's no limit.
I mean, I could just keep going. Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
There's always room for
Horizon, whatever the sequel's called.
Horizon 1 Dawn.
Yep.
That's the sequel to Zero Dawn.
What about you, Mike?
Well, I'm pretty sure my brother is going to get the new Xbox, and he's probably going to get Halo. So I would definitely say the Halo, because I am a Halo fan. I do like Halo. So I definitely want to see Halo Infinite when that comes out. I definitely want to play it over my brother's house.
Awesome.
Again, I'm more of a Nintendo guy. All I really have is my Switch right now, so definitely Breath of the Wild 2. My God, I can't wait for
Pokemon
that.
Snap too.
Yes, Pokemon
Literally,
Snap.
Pokemon Snap too.
Took the words out of my mouth. Yep, I definitely want to try out the Pokemon Snap game. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that. Again, maybe it's just my nostalgia, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. Let's see. Doom Eternal. I know it's out, but I don't think it's out for the Switch yet. So that's the game I really want to play. I'm so mad that it didn't come out at the same time as the other consoles.
At this rate, Mike, you might play it before I do.
Yeah, but regardless, I do want to play it. I'm looking forward to that because I really did enjoy Doom 2016. That was really good.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Definitely No More Heroes 3 because I never played the second one.
Yeah.
I never played the second one, but I heard it was only okay. The first one I thought was unique enough where it actually did. I was impressed by it. I was like, oh, this game's actually kind of fun. Wonky side missions aside, like the game actually was pretty fun. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this because the game is like a bit of a gem for me. Not saying I'm a hardcore fan, but like that's a game I kind of want to try out. And the biggest one is Metroid Prime 4. Hands down, is the biggest game that I'm looking forward to. Just because that's my bread and butter. That's my baby. I just want to play that game. At this point, I just want some news about that game. Good Lord, I just want some news. But anyway, yeah, they're definitely the games that I'm most looking forward to, and I'm very excited for.
Awesome. Thank you, Owen Reese.
Yeah, Owen Reese. Again, you can find Owen Reese. Thank you very much. I think he has a YouTube channel. I believe I saw it. I forget.
Cool.
Yeah, but we'll have his information linked down below.
All right.
And our second question. This comes to us also from Instagram, from Select Start Save, and this gentleman does have a YouTube channel that goes by Select Start Save. You guys go check him out.
I like that name.
Yeah, he actually I think is also a gaming channel. If you couldn't tell by the name of his channel, but so I told him I was actually talking to him. We had a nice little chat, and he basically was saying so the podcast, that's kind of cool, and I mentioned how you should ask us a question, and he asked us, oh well, what can the question be about? I told him it can be about games. I like card games and collectibles. It can be about that. I said it can be about anything, and he I think he had a bit of a fun time with this because he is a very funny question. This is probably this is a funny question. All right, so his question is, if animals could talk, which one would be the rudest?
Ooh.
It's a good one.
All right. Right off the bat, I'm saying geese.
So, Corey, that's exactly what I was going to say.
There you go.
You son of a... Because, let's be honest, geese are jerks. They are jerks. It's like, if you ever encounter a goose out, in public, because you'll sometimes see them in park. I swear, I always experience geese in parking lots of grocery stores. Not anymore, but when Amanda's gonna laugh at me because she always keeps saying that Ben Salem's like the boonies, and it's not. But when I was living in Ben Salem, sometimes there would be geese. Rare, it was rare, but there have been geese in the parking lot of the Giant where I would get my groceries.
Oh my God!
And they would chase you. And I if they could talk, I'm sure. Back, human, get back here and fight me like a man. I don't know. I see them being rude and
you won't catch the Level With Me podcast playing that untitled goose game.
Oh my gosh!
Kill them all. Who cares?
Honk, honk. Yeah.
Geese can go extinct. I won't be sad. I'll be good.
Yeah, they'll just bite you and steal the food from your hand and just. Actually, you know what's a bit of a tangent. When I was a little kid, my dad, I'll never forget this. My dad took me to a little pond to like fish or maybe feed the geese that are there. And I remember one time my dad I was probably 2 years old, so I just have like little images in my head from this as of like a memory. I remember me going to this pond with my dad, and then these geese started coming out of the water, and they were like marching towards us like an army of geese.
What the fuck?
Like they're having their revolution was happening. And my dad, I remember my dad just grabbed me and picked me up and took me into the car.
New geese order.
It's like the episode of The Simpsons when the Dolphins took over, you know? It's oh my gosh. And I remember like me and my dad like throwing me into the car, buckling me in my car seat, and then like the geese are at the window of the car. I am not lying. I remember this.
World War G.
Only Israel's safe from the geese. Start building the walls, guys.
What a great question.
Oh gosh, that was funny.
I'm trying to think of an honorable mention because we both said geese.
Probably cats. Cats I can see being very snarky. Like, what are you doing in my house?
I take offense. I have a cat. He's a lovable boy.
I have cats too, and I hang out back home with my parents. I have cats, and I always feel like dogs are like, oh gosh, my human's back. I love you. I love you. I love you. Take me for a walk. Cats are like, oh, you're back in my house. That's kind of like how I picture cats when you come home. But I just always think of them as being very snarky.
I'm trying to think of like an oddball pick, like maybe zebras. Zebras might be really rude.
Yeah. Or like randomly like I don't know, a mongoose. In the end, mongoose apparently, and maybe because it has the word goose in there, that's probably why I'm thinking this. But I just feel like maybe the mongoose is the most like racist of all the animals, or the most specious of all the animals. They don't like it.
No need to worry. Select, start, save. We will get our animal emotional researchers on it, and by next week we will, with scientific proof, know the most rudest animal.
Yeah, but thank you, Select, Start, Save, for the question. That was funny. I enjoyed that one.
I also enjoyed it. Thank you. But with that being said, we are at the end of this podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening this week and all your continued weeks. It really helps us. And you know what else can really help us? Going to our YouTube channel and watching some of our great Let's Plays. That's just Level With Me on the YouTubes. And you can find me playing Last of Us Part 2 and Remnant from the Ashes. I'm also playing Luigi's Mansion 3 with this guy, Mike. And Mike's got his own Let's Plays as well. I'm viewing him play Metroid Zero Mission. And he also has, Subnautica. It's About Time. That's what it's called, right?
It's Subnautica. It's
Subnautica Guardians.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that. Yeah. It's got that cool crafting system. You can go check that out. That's a Level With Me. I'm going to try to upload daily, too, so keep an eye on that. You can also check out our Instagram account, and like I mentioned earlier, we'll have a little poll up there so you can ask questions to be read on the podcast and get a shout-out. Thank you again, Owen Reese and Select, Start, Save. Other than that, you could follow me at my social medias, just GameBro Corey, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. I want to get streaming again. I might stream some of that Legends of Runeterra. It's a very casual-ish game to play, and it's a lot of fun. What about you, Mike? You got anything you want to plug?
I just want to say thanks again for listening, guys. If you want to see some of the stuff that I do, mainly like if you guys like collectible Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, you can find me on Instagram as well at the Collector's Vault. Again, the information will be down below. I also have a YouTube, also called the Collector's Vault, and I make little like funny videos, and I do like a discussion on the current like collectible market, I guess is the best way to describe it. And I just have to reiterate, thank us for watching. We really do enjoy doing this podcast. We love that we have fans. We're happy to have the actual official YouTube channel to put up our Let's Plays and to put our episodes. And so in case you guys missed any of the previous episodes, they're all on Level With Me, as well as Gabriel Corey's YouTube, because he's obviously the one who created it in the first place. So in case you want to go back and really see the old school episodes, they're all on Gabriel Corey.
Good luck with that. Some of those are rough.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we made it. we've made it to the end of the podcast here, and I have breaking news here that Joe Rogan says podcasts are a waste of time.
Wait a minute. Joe Rogan said podcasts are a waste of time
That's
on his podcast.
That's correct.
That's how ironic.
I mean, I don't know what to do at this point. I'm just gonna cut the cord. I guess I got to go outside and hunt some elk or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta go to Joe Rogan's house and punch him in the face and be like, "Bro, not cool, man. Not cool."
Bye, guys.
Have a good one, guys.